give us opening thoughts and what we have to say. Go ahead, Destiny. Open us up.
Okay, so I don't know if I would say 100% that Trump is fully responsible, but if anybody is responsible, he's pushed it basically as close to the line as possible. I think that Trump has engaged in behavior that has made all of the National Guards of every state and all of the federal police to have the most antagonistic relationship possible with all of the different states, or in DC, just the territory of Washington, DC. So I think that Trump is engaged in behavior that has increased the danger for all of the people that are deployed. I think that every single time a bad thing happens, I think that he tries to capitalize on it with some kind of policy. I would argue that Trump has been waiting for and loves these types of moments, and he's waiting for more moments like these to happen so that he can continue to expand on his executive power. Every time it does, we saw him jump on this as soon as these 2 National Guardsmen were shot. I think he deployed another 500 to DC. And yeah, I just think that Donald Trump is engaged on a war path where he wants to invite as much self-destruction as possible so that it gives him more excuses basically to leverage and expand his executive power and authority.
Okay, we'll get into it as we go. Next up, Soypill. What you got?
Yeah, pretty much what Destiny said. I would add that Trump, is inflaming all of the tensions by, illegally putting the National Guard into all of these places. He's violating posse comitatus. He's going against the wishes of various governors and even the National Guard themselves, who say they don't need to be there and don't want to be there. Then essentially putting the blame on him by putting people in places they don't need to be and inflaming the tension so that when violent things happen, he can justify doing it more, grabbing more executive power. It is very clearly at least his fault insofar as this never should have happened and wouldn't be happening under a Kamala presidency. Obviously, Donald Trump didn't shoot these people, but also by the Trump magatard standard of Trump, the Biden administration letting all these illegals in and then saying, oh, well, it's his fault for letting them in. Trump's administration granted this person asylum, so I'm also going to give him blame for that.
Okay, thank you for being here. I'm sure we'll get into it. Good logic. Okay, thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. Next up, Andrew Branca. Is that how you say your last name? I apologize.
Yeah, that's fine. It doesn't matter. Of course, I'm an attorney. I'm probably best known for the law of self-defense. I'm an expert, probably the preeminent expert in the nation on use of force law. And I do a lot of legal and political commentary. I think there's no rational view in which Trump has any legal responsibility for what happened here. We have an Afghan assassin who walked up to a woman with a revolver in his hand and shot her through the chest. There's only one person who caused that death. That's the Afghan rebel. We can engage in all kinds of estrogenic butterfly effects, and Trump is the bad daddy. So everything that happens that's bad is Trump's fault. But Trump has executive authority under Article 2. He's the democratically elected president. He's allowed to do things, including trying to ensure the safety of the American populace in its city. And if bad things happen because he's doing things he's allowed to do, it's the bad people who made that happen.
Okay, and with that, let's kind of get into it as we go. I guess I'd start by reading a tweet from Destiny here. And I'm curious if you stand by this position, sir, and then we can just kind of get into the open discussion. You said on 9/15 on November 26th, you wrote as follows. They weren't protecting DC. They couldn't even make arrests. They were sent there to die by real Donald Trump and his cronies so they could rile up the base to distract them from the monumental failing of every single part of this administration. Is that your current position, sir?
Yes, I think that Trump is trying intentionally to inflame tensions as much as possible so that he can expand his executive power as much as possible. One thing that you're going to hear over and over again in this debate, it's already happened in the opening statements, is remember, every single time a conservative criticizes a Democrat, it's about what they should do, what their moral obligation is, and what a good leader would do to guide the country. But whenever they talk about Trump with the conservatives, it's always what is the outer perimeter of legal actions that he is theoretically allowed to take. There's no question of whether or not his leadership is moral or what his end game is on anything, although he would fail in the legal realm as he has been over and over again, and he would fail on these other two as well. But like the question is why? So for instance, earlier you talked about leftists celebrating violence. Why is Donald Trump incapable of saying that the entire country needs to be less violent? Why is he incapable of saying anything that equally criticizes his side?
And this is open discussion, so.
Sure. Two really quick and easy questions. Did Joe Biden condemn the BLM violence?
Who cares?
The answer, okay, if you don't know, that's fine. The answer is yes. That's fine. No, wait. Well, I know you don't care because you don't care to make any fashion. So the answer is yes, number one. And number two, did Donald Trump pardon every single January 6th protester?
We can't, no one can hear each other. Hold on, just real quick. Hey, just.
I'm not deflecting. You brought up BLM.
Yeah,
you brought up
BLM, dude.
Yeah, your point is wrong. That's the point I'm making, that your point is stupid. I'm not asking that question. It was a super easy question. Did Biden condemn the BLM riots? Did Biden condemn the violence? He was running for election because he was running for election.
Like the face of the Democratic Party.
You literally can't even answer. You don't even know. Why even bring up BLM? If you don't know anything what was going on at the time, then just don't bring it up. That was the first question. So the answer is yes. You can go research it later. The second question is, did Donald Trump pardon every single J6 protester?
Gang, both of you, please. We can't hear when you guys are talking over each other, so I'd ask that, again, you wait for the other person to finish their statement, then you can respond, and I'll try to make sure that you aren't interrupted during your response, and that's what we're going to do.
Got Logic, to be clear, in your intro,
I'll just real quick, Soypill, let Logic finish his statement, and then you can jump in, and Andrew seems to want in as well, so this will work.
I'm fine. I mean, I always have stuff to say, but I'll let you guys go. It's okay.
He's about to yap and not answer either of those questions, by the way. Because you said that leftists were trying to ratchet up the violence.
Yeah.
What do you mean? How is it relevant? It speaks directly to the issue. Hold on, just one more. I'm going to do this one more time, and then if he doesn't answer, that's fine. So the first question is: did Biden condemn the BLM riots? The answer is yes. Did Donald Trump? That's fine. That's fine. Don't yap again. I just answer my second question. Answer my second. What? Okay. He did it on August 31st, 2020. Look up YouTube Global News. There's a video titled Joe Biden Condemns Violence and Ongoing U.S. Protests. There you go. Look it up in your own time. Number one. The second question is, did Donald Trump pardon every single J6 protester / rioter? Okay. Okay,
right.
cool.
So the reason this isn't irrelevant, God logic, is because we're talking about how Trump has made the conditions for this violence to happen. Yeah, he didn't pick up the gun and shoot these National Guard members, but he's drumming up the rhetoric. And when you say, hey, the left never says be peaceful, Destiny brings up an example of Joe Biden explicitly doing that. And then we point out that Trump is refusing to condemn the right and is actually calling for the deaths of people in his own government, that this is part of the rhetoric that is causing these National Guard people to be shot. And you say, well, all lives matter. Oh, I'm deflecting to BLM. It's got to be a generalized statement. No, we're saying he needs to say turn down the rhetoric, and he's doing the opposite. He's inflaming everyone. He's getting people killed. That's where the blame comes from. Oh, sorry. Yeah, when he's saying we should hang members of our government. Well, you're asking me a question. When he says we should hang members of our government, yeah. Do you think you should dial that back? And killed and murdered, yeah.
Capital punishment is not murder.
Excuse me, sorry, not murder. Just
when you're the head of the executive and you're saying that your political opposition needs to be investigated, when we've already seen him fabricate indictments, calling out the specific bullshit.
Trump was
that's fine, but the president of the United States isn't ordinarily. Sorry, I know you are pretending to be a lawyer, okay? But generally speaking, the president of the United States does not give direct instruction to the head of the Department of Justice to issue indictments. That's why the last two cases
they work for him.
Oh, that's great. Well, do they work for him though? Because it seems like she wasn't even legally appointed, was she? Isn't Lizzie Halligan out now? Didn't all that get tossed now? Seems like it's all gone now, right? Huh? All right, looks like that wasn't very legal, huh?
Well,
now all of our cases are being looked at. So no, that wasn't the case. Sorry.
Just real quick, Joe. No one can hear you on your channel.
So defensive.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Andrew.
Well, rule of law matters to some of us, so it's kind of annoying to see the president of the United States so flagrantly abuse it.
Okay, first of all, the Department of Justice works with the president. He can tell them what to do. They're part of the executive branch. Second of all, capital punishment is not murder. It's state sanctioned. People get a trial. They get lawyers. They get juries. And sedition was made a capital offense by Congress, not by Trump. Congress created that law. Third of all violence is not bad. Why do you suggest that all the violence should be tamped down? Violence is not inherently bad.
I agree. BLM violence is good, but Gen 6 violence is bad.
So
wait, just curious. When we say the president,
let him finish. Let him finish. Let Andrew finish.
Yeah. When we say
Andrew, you're really low. Can you turn yourself up? Your volume's just low.
When we say the president can give direction to the DOJ, is there any equivalent moment in the last 50 to 100 years of U.S. history where the president of the United States is directing his attorney general on who to prosecute, directing them on issuing indictments to political opponents?
How would you know? Those are private conversations. How would you know?
So the answer to your question was no. The answer to your question was
no.
No,
you're wrong. Right? No, the answer is yes.
There is no evidence of any of this.
100% there is. Here's
what's
one of
the evidence?
I'm about to tell you. Here's one of the things
he's about to not tell us, by the way. Spoiler alert.
No, I'll tell you right now. The role of the DOJ is to be manifesting the will of the executive. This is one of the things that during the confirmation,
there's a unitary executive. It's such bullshit. You guys don't even believe in this shit. You would lose your fucking mind.
You don't even let me answer.
If a Democrat did this, it's such bullshit. Yeah, because this is a child. You don't even believe in this. It's so retarded.
You're terrified of actually hearing an answer. So you have to cut me off when you see I'm making a point that actually just completely blows up everything you were just saying.
Can I just short circuit?
No. I don't want your short circuit. I don't want your short circuit because you do not know. It's not unitary executive theory. It is the sole purpose of the DOJ is to manifest the will. They are part of the executive branch. They are not part of the judicial branch.
Manifest the will of who?
Of the executive. Of the president of the United States.
Then why do special counsels exist? Why do special counsels exist?
Special counsels exist for when there's a conflict of interest. That's
why would that matter if they're only there? Wait, how could there be a conflict of interest if they only exist there to manifest the will of the president?
You're proving my point.
Because the president can have a conflict of interest.
You're proving my point.
How can he conflict with interest with his own self, with his own Department of Justice?
Listen, slow down for a second. slow down, because I don't think you just understand basic civics about how our government functions.
Basic civics, but you won't give me an example of anybody doing what Trump did.
Every single president has directed their DOJ to focus on one area of law or another that they think is particularly important towards fulfilling their agenda.
Focus on one area of law? Excuse me, that's not what we're talking about. I mentioned that Trump specifically called for indictments for 2 specific individuals who are political opponents, and he named the prosecutor
100%.
that he wanted to lead. So who else has done this? So who did this?
Exactly.
Did Obama do this? Did Biden do this? Give me the example.
Yes,
everybody does it. Who does it? Give me an example.
No, Biden. No, Obama did it far worse. Obama did it in a far worse way.
Give me an example. Who did he
Obama
target?
did it far more in a nefarious way, because what he did is he actually weaponized all of his different executive agencies to try and target his opinions.
IRS bullshit. He has no arguments. He has nothing for this. At least you
have
no evidence of this.
What is just housekeeping here, gang? If you keep interrupting, we can't understand what they're trying to say.
I'm trying to make a point, and you just also say he's saying nothing.
Then we're
he's
going to
saying
go to
nothing.
Branca, and then you can respond. I promise.
Apparently, I'm saying so much nothing.
Let him finish. Please.
Apparently, I'm saying so much nothing. You need to cut me off in the middle. The point is that he is, as the head of the executive, this is an executive agency. That is what the DOJ is. When you get Adam Schiff up there and he's questioning Pam Bondi, saying, "I'm afraid you're going to be Trump's man," it's for a woman. The point is she's supposed to be. Otherwise, she's not fit for it.
That's just not true. You're lying. You're fucking lying.
Merrick Garland was 100% Biden's man. That's exactly to the extent.
Then why was a special prosecutor appointed to investigate Biden's documents?
Because when you have, you're only proving my point. You're only
That's why. That's why.
That's not the point. No, because the point is that if the president was the unitary controller of the attorney general, the president would just tell the attorney general, "Don't investigate this." Do you see how easy that is? Do you see how stupid your theory is?
Destiny, think for a second. If it was already an independent agency, there could not be a conflict of interest between the DOJ and the president. It's because the DOJ is an extension of the president that you need to have some internal affairs type of agency, which we call special counsel or special prosecutor, to go after someone who's in the president's orbit. That's why you need it.
Why wouldn't the president just tell them, "Don't do that investigation"? Why wouldn't the president say, "Just don't"? Why would the president say, "Don't investigate that"?
I'm almost done. Because of the fact that the DOJ is viewed as an extension of the president, when there's something around the president that might be illegal, that's why you need a third-party special prosecutor to come in. That's what you need. It's the proof that they're actually defaulting, that they are part of the executive agency, part of the will of the president. In fact, that's the only way we, the people, have any power over them, is through the president directing them. That's how we actually have representation in who's being prosecuted. Now, go ahead with your question, please.
Sure. So 2 things. So just real quick. So 1, there's a difference between having a legal agenda and directing somebody to prosecute particular political opponents. You acknowledge that, right?
Why? No. Why? Why would that be? Why is that different? Why?
I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me just restate that. I'm not going to say it. If you want to make yourself sound that stupid, that's fine. You do not recognize a difference or a distinction between a president saying, "I would like to focus more on this kind of crime," versus the president saying, "These 2 opponents of mine, political opponents from 2 administrations ago, I want you to prosecute them." If you say there's no distinction, well, you wouldn't know until you do the investigation. Isn't that kind of part of what the DOJ does?
That's not true.
Number 1. Number 2. Number 2.
No.
Why do you keep laughing? You're not making a point.
Agency. The DOJ is
really?
Not
what does the FBI do? How does the DOJ get evidence for
it's a different agency.
Jury?
The FBI is a different agency.
It's under the DOJ. It's literally a subsidiary of the DOJ. What are you talking about? Okay, stop. The question was, if this is so ordinary, if this is so commonplace, then just show me one other time it's happened. It should be really easy. If presidents do this all the time, what other president has directed his attorney general? Give me one example. Don't just say it happens all the time. Give me an example.
War on drugs.
Answer?
War on drugs.
War on drugs? That's not an answer. Are we just saying random words together now?
Stop. Branca, do you have an answer to his question?
It's irrelevant whether it's ordinary,
Thank you.
if it's within the president's authority, and it is. He's allowed to do unordinary things.
Why not just say that? Just say that. It's extraordinary. It's never happened. That's great. Just open with that next time instead of saying everybody does it. Not everybody does it. Trump is the most egregious abuser of the DOJ.
Because you won't stop talking.
The problem is you guys keep describing this as vaguely as possible. It's, hey, this is the president's purview to do this thing and direct these departments. And we're saying, hey, when has the president ever called for the killing of people within his government in this certain way? Not, hey, he's going and saying maybe we could kill American citizens if it helps the war on drugs, or hey, we need to kill people at the border. Specifically calling for I know that Obama
Eric Holder, he asked his DOJ and his Office of Legal Counsel, he had the authority to do it. He didn't direct them. That's the difference.
Why does his DOJ give him authority? How does his DOJ give authority? That's like you
he
going
went
to
to them for the legal
secretary.
memo. What do you mean? The whole Eric Holder memo literally details
That's
this.
like
He went
you-
to them to find out if he felt he
That's
felt he
like-
had the authority to even act this way.
That's like
There's a
you-
difference between him and Trump
Is not
firing every attorney
subordinate
general
to the
that he doesn't
Department of
agree with.
Justice. The president is not subordinate to the Department of
Steve,
Justice.
that's
The
like
president is subordinate to the Constitution of the United States, and he's supposed to act
Steve.
in a way that comports with what the
Yes.
law is. So the
Yes.
president might consult his
Yes.
Department of Justice instead of like Donald Trump,
His-
who only
his-
confers with his personal
his
attorneys.
DOJ.
And instead of
Told him
breaking every
no,
law and hoping to
he
win
can
in
still
court,
do it.
Obama tried to follow the law ahead of time, which is what you're supposed to do. The law is there to check your behavior before you do. It's not there as a consequence for you to intentionally break it over and over again.
His DOJ.
Okay,
Can I
we
ask a
gotta
question?
let the other side respond without interruption,
Go
just for a little bit. Okay, just go ahead, Branca, please. You can respond.
If it's
I'll try to
okay
make
for
sure you aren't
Obama,
interrupted. Go ahead.
if it's okay for Obama to actually kill American citizens, why would it be inappropriate for Trump to advocate killing American citizens without actually doing it?
Because Obama was exercising his powers as the head of the military, as the commander in chief. No, as the commander in chief, number one, and number two, it was in a theater of war where we already had a pre-existing authorization for the use of military force. In order for it, we already have a broad AUMF that has been not challenged by any prior president to operate in the Middle East. Now, unless I'm not aware of this, were any of the people that Donald Trump said should be tried for seditious conspiracy, or whatever, were any of these people part of fucking Al Qaeda or some terrorist outfit that I'm just not aware of that Trump didn't publicize information about?
Sedition doesn't require that.
Oh, do we have any evidence of them committing sedition?
Yes, we have
saw
a
it.
video of them committing
It was
sedition.
on
Yes.
video.
Oh,
They
okay,
said
wait.
don't
Okay,
do
wait.
illegal
So just to be
things.
clear,
On
just to be clear. Okay, so Donald Trump retweeting things saying that these people should be tried and executed. That in and of itself is totally fine. But a bunch of people
Yes.
going on video saying you shouldn't follow unlawful orders, which is literally part of the military code. That's seditious behavior?
Yes, it's sedition in the broader political context. Sure.
It's
Anyway,
literally
a
not. It's
jury would
absolutely
What?
not. So you're
Of course
completely
it is.
destroyed on that. You've been
Of course
mogged
it is.
completely out of existence.
you
What a
can-
stupid. How could you possibly think that these people committed seditious conspiracy, but Donald
did.
Trump, who's literally
100%.
retweeting people saying they should be, so now in the
hold
future,
on,
just
let
to be
them
clear,
make the argument.
anytime I say somebody should be killed, I should just say first, oh, he should be tried for a crime and killed first. And then we're safe. I mean, it's a genius
Destiny,
idea. Oh my God.
Destiny,
Hold on,
Destiny.
stop, please. I want to hear the argument. So the argument about the sedition. Why is it sedition? Why is them going on to and making an ad saying you should disobey unlawful orders? How is that sedition? Can you make the argument?
That would not
please?
be seditious. It's seditious
The
in the
trouble is, it's not just that. It's the context. It's the context in which they're saying that, and it's simultaneously they're saying, by the way, everything Trump's doing is unlawful. They're saying,
Did they say that in that video at all?
They
or are
said
you
that in
just
that
kind of
video?
implying that?
They said we understand you're under intense pressure. That's
Okay,
what they
so
said.
when
yeah, they're
these
under
people put
pressure,
out a thing,
yeah.
you have to read between the lines and imply what they're saying.
No,
But when
you don't
Trump
have
comes
to
out and
imply what
say,
you're saying.
kill these
Remember
members
what
of
I
my
said,
government,
liberals
that's
need to
totally
act
fine.
moral and above board on
Whoa,
everything, but Donald Trump is
If
only
they
constrained by
weren't
the outer
saying
perimeter
it-
of our delusional interpretation of law.
No. When they go out there, and weeks earlier, Slotkin is going out there saying he's issuing illegal orders, and then she comes
He
out
is.
here.
He
Okay,
literally came out on the Washington Post,
okay.
like, just now.
So you're only making the.
Did she say every single thing he does is legal?
Soypill. What you're
That's
doing
not
is you're
required.
arguing against yourself. You don't even realize.
Just real
You don't
quick,
even realize
Andrew,
when you make a
your
point
mic keeps
against
getting
yourself.
lower as you go. I don't know if you're turning it down, but it was good for a minute,
Yeah.
and then it's gone lower.
Soypill, you're actually arguing against yourself because when you have these senators and these congressmen and women who go out there and say he's issuing illegal orders, and then they say if an illegal order is issued, you're honor bound on the Constitution to disobey it. The only possible purpose for making that is to basically plant the seed in the minds of military that every time they have an order, they should sit there and try calculate, is this constitutional? Do I think it's constitutional? When you try to actually put this into a practical sense, rather than applying it to an individual scenario, I'm almost done.
Were both those statements true? Were both the statements true?
No,
Wasn't Trump
first of
issuing
all,
illegal
no.
orders?
No, he
Hold on,
wasn't.
hold on, hold on.
No, he wasn't.
Oh,
Hold on.
so when
Wait, hold on.
it was reported to murder the people in the Venezuelan boats, even when they blew the boats up, that's not
It's
an
not
illegal
murder.
order?
It's not
Not
murder.
murder.
What is it then? For a country that we're not at war with, what would you consider that?
Wait,
It's-
Destiny, we
it's-
cannot-
it's a lawful killing.
Wait. We cannot let
How
them
is
move
it a
on from
lawful
this.
killing?
Wait,
What is the law?
wait,
Self-defense lawyer, you
please.
said? What is the... Sorry, I'm...
We
Soy-
can't let them move
Soypill,
on from this because Flawed Logic just said there is no other possible explanation
Wait, which
other
name did I get
than
now?
to
What?
Flawed Logic. What was it?
You called him Chud logic. He's good logic. I promise you. It's not God logic, not Chud
you said
logic.
The only explanation for Slotkin saying this is to plant the seed of doubt and make them question every order. Why is it in the military training to say you shouldn't obey illegal orders? Is it to make every single military person like question every single order and like, oh, we want to have a military that's insubordinate? Or is it because you aren't allowed to follow illegal orders?
It's the very same people. That's a good question. It's a fair question, Soypill. And I'll tell you, it's the very same people and those in their camp who are continually saying there's one illegal order after another where they've continually been proven wrong. They basically been claiming this is illegal, that's
question
illegal.
At all. You just said
I will answer your question. So
no,
when she's going out there
this
and
isn't
saying,
my question at all.
No, because in the military, when they're being trained, they're not being trained. Hey, you're going to be getting a whole bunch of illegal orders. So make sure that you're only following constitutional orders. They don't get that in the training. They don't get that warm up. When you're getting as a follow up, as a follow through to, there's all sorts of unconstitutional orders. And hey, by the way, military, when you get a constitutional order, you better make sure you don't follow it. And there's also even a veiled threat in there. The veiled threat is that when we come back into power, if we decide to determine those are unconstitutional, we're going to prosecute you military members for following these orders. And you're not going to be able to say, and we've even heard Schumer go out there, and we've heard others say that, hey, you're not going to be able to say we were following orders. Remember the Nuremberg trials? That's what the left has been saying right now. So in this entire context, the only reason to do it is to weaken the military and have our military members basically question every single order rather than relying on the default that our military has had for the last 250 years that, hey, when I get an order, it's constitutional.
Okay, so you keep saying only reason. Could it be possible? Is there not a world that exists in which Donald Trump has done something illegal and people want the people not to follow that order? Is that possible?
That is...
They can't name one.
Okay. Well, I just named one.
The murder of the Venezuelan people after the boats, killing people after the boats already been destroyed. That's a war crime and it's illegal in the United States. You can't do that.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
No.
Great argument.
So
yes,
wait,
you can,
no,
you
wait.
can't.
So you think?
Okay, hold on.
What do we want? I can appeal
here.
to the Rome Statute. I know we're not party to the ICC. I can appeal to international customary humanitarian law. You're not allowed to kill people that are no longer enemy combatants. Like what for military law, you're not allowed to kill people that have already surrendered. White flag laws and all of these things are part of our military code of conduct. So what are you citing? What do you think that you're allowed to kill people who aren't able to participate in combat anymore? What are you citing to? What do you think? What?
They weren't surrendered.
How do you even know they were shooting at it from fucking drones?
Okay, just real quick.
They weren't surrendered. They weren't taken into custody.
Before we go on, just to
taking into custody is not the same as surrendered.
Stop, please. In the DoD's Law of War Manual, and this was updated in July 2023, and I'm going to just read from this directly. This can give some context to the audience. Under Section 5.9, persons placed hors de combat. Persons, including combatants, placed hors de combat may not be made the object of attack. Persons placed hors de combat include the following categories of persons, provided they abstain from any hostile act and do not attempt to escape. 1. Persons in the power of an adverse party. 2. Persons not yet in custody who have surrendered. 3. Persons who have been rendered unconscious or otherwise incapacitated by wounds, sickness, or shipwreck. And 4. Persons parachuting from aircraft in distress. So if the Washington Post report is correct, Andrew, could you give us the legal reasoning that, in your opinion, in your argument, why those shipwrecked narco guys were a legal target?
Well, they weren't shipwrecked. They were blown up.
Right? What do you think shipwrecked means?
Shipwrecked means a ship wrecks on a reef, on
No,
a
that's
shore.
not what it means. It means your ship has been rendered incapacitated. It could have been because it got wrecked, or it could have been it got blown up. The reality is that the people on the ship, even if they were enemy combatants, of which we have no proof of, by the way, even if they were, as soon as their ship has been rendered unable to perform any combat functions, and the people in the water, they have obtained or say what?
No.
Well, so, you're a lawyer. Hey, I'm curious. Wait. No. Inform us. You're a lawyer. When there are words that appear legally and there are statutes, how would you figure out what it actually means? What would you do? What would you look up?
Are you allowed to shoot enemy soldiers who are running away?
Yes.
Okay. So why is this any different?
Because they're shipwrecked. They don't have the opportunity. They're not running away. They're in water. They're shipwrecked.
What about soldiers who are running away? They're not attacking you at the moment.
Because soldiers that are running away are still considered part of combat. Fleeing is a military operation.
Right. Why would these people in the boats get the benefit of the law of warfare where they're not engaged in any recognized military force or warfare?
Because when you're not a fucking savage, that's how you conduct yourself as a first world country, especially as a country that says that we don't exist under the Rome Statute because we're not signatories to the ICC. We have our own military courts that are supposed to hold our own behavior accountable. That's why stuff like Abu Ghraib and that's why stuff like Gitmo is not always on the up and up, and some of it we went after. So the answer is there is international customary humanitarian law where all of us agree that there are certain rules. You can't torture people, you can't rape people, you can't capture people. Well, I'm informing you since you apparently don't know anything about international law. Murdering people.
Just let me know when you're done.
What the question specifically is you can't murder people that are just swing.
For people to have the protection of the law of war, they have to qualify for the protection of the law of war. These are regular combatants engaged in chemical warfare against the United States. Don't qualify for the law of war.
Number one, even if what you just said was true, they do qualify. Number two, you have no evidence of any of those claims. An enemy combatant that is shipwrecked qualifies for prisoner of war status. Where what?
They're not in uniform. They're not.
They don't have to be in uniform. Doesn't matter. I know it hurts. Yeah, I know. It's okay. Your daddy Trump just commits war crimes or whatever you want to say. I know it hurts.
You guys, gang, I love the energy. I love the passion. It's really great content. But we got to let Andrew finish his point. Please, Andrew, go ahead.
No, I'll let Destiny go. I just do want to say, however, that I guess I misunderstood what the nature of the format would be here. I'm unlikely to stay for 2 hours to get yelled at by Destiny. That's not a good use of my time. So if we could maybe have questions and answers and people have an opportunity to exchange views and positions, we don't have to agree, but we can inform the audience that way. Getting yelled at by Destiny for 2 hours isn't informing anybody.
I'll be nicer.
I guess we probably get more. We'll probably get further if you actually let people like respond, and rather than just trying to cut them down before they finish, you actually just let them respond.
I agree.
Great.
It'd be nice if they were responsive to my questions. That'd be nice. We probably get.
We got it. Okay.
And instead of mischaracterizing as not being responsive, I'll tell you. You tell me how it fails to respond, and I'll tell you how it is. And Andrew can do the same. But I do agree with.
What was the question for the debate? Because we seem to have wandered.
That's what I'm trying to do. Please, I'm trying to rein it back in. Right. We're going to be talking about the shooting of the National Guard members, right? And who bears responsibility and to what extent they bear responsibility, and if Trump does so. So let's kind of reset, get it back on track. Okay. So
I have a question because they really want to answer questions.
Go ahead. Ask your question. I better be on track or else
do you think Donald Trump has ever toned down rhetoric, or has he only ever made it worse in the last year?
He's allowed to engage in rhetoric. He's a politician. He has no.
That's not what I asked. I didn't.
He's asking if he has.
I asked if he has. I thought you were here to answer my questions, not say whether or not it was okay what Trump did.
All right, I get to speak what I'd like to say. Is that okay? You can
answer my question. It's not okay.
let him give his answer, and if it's not responsive to your question, you can remind him of that after he's given his answer.
I don't work for you, Soypill. I don't have to answer questions to your satisfaction.
Yeah, well, you also have a goldfish memory.
Sorry.
So 3 seconds after I ask my question, please
okay,
answer.
I'm gonna have to start muting people. Okay,
I'm gonna bow out if this is. I'm not spending 2 hours of my night like this. This is pointless.
Okay.
You just answer my question.
Finish your statement, Andrew. Go ahead, please.
State your question, Soypill, and I will provide the answer I believe is appropriate for me. Go ahead.
Okay. Has Donald Trump ever turned down the rhetoric, or has he only ever inflated it and made it worse?
I think especially in the last year. Okay. The question's irrelevant because Donald Trump has no obligation to turn down the rhetoric.
Cool. So you're not going to answer my question. So you can stop talking now. You can bow out now if you're not going to respond to anything I say.
No, he can't. I'll muted him.
Bye. See ya, dude. You're fucking useless, dude.
I muted. I guess.
Remember at the start, I said this is what all Republicans do: is Trump is just given the outer perimeter of what he's legally allowed to do, but then on the other end, by the way, those politicians were allowed to make that video, right?
I think they actually. I think they probably broke the law. Actually,
you're unfucking believable. You're disgusting, like a subhuman. I can't believe that you guys.
That's debate.
This is
your debate.
It's unbelievable.
Why? Hold on, just real quick, Destiny, please. Why did they break the law? Give us that argument, please.
When they're under 18 U.S.C. 2387, that they're trying to demoralize and discourage the military from actually following the commanding officers. That's what they're trying to do. That's what their objective is. You know it also. You can pretend that you don't know that that's what their objective is. Their objective is that every time an order comes down, which the left may question, that they have to sit there and think to themselves, is this something that I can get in trouble for down the road? That's what their objective is. Why else are they making the video? You have no answer to that because that's the only possible motivation.
No, hold on. No. The possibility is they don't want. Could it be? This might be a stretch. Okay, maybe they just don't want them to follow unlawful orders.
Right. Okay, but then you wouldn't put it under the context of literally days after Alyssa Slotkin goes out there, says that Trump is issuing illegal orders. And
wait, wasn't Trump issuing illegal orders? Didn't that happen?
No, he wasn't.
Do you think that
so? The murdering of the people
believes he did something illegal?
See, now you want to go into the whole murdering that happened after the video was made. Right, and you want to basically
how about we
that
talk
back.
about stealing the National Guard from the governors when Trump is using the National Guard or redeploying them to states without the governor's consent?
That actually, so far when it was bouncing around the Ninth Circuit, it actually held up pretty well. See, what ends up happening when these things go through the court, this is another problem with just telling a military member, you decide what's unconstitutional. Let me just finish my point. You asked me a question.
You made a claim. You made a claim. Wait, just real quick. You made a claim. My understanding is the last thing that went through the DC thing, they said no, he wasn't allowed to do that. That deployment was illegal.
Because it depends.
True or not true?
There's so many cases going on. I'm not going to tell you that I can tell you in this court versus in that court that this is the status as of right now here versus that one over there. Now, maybe somehow you got your hands on some sort of AI there, which is able to flesh out for you in the Ninth Circuit versus DC Circuit versus what's happening in Washington versus what's happening in Illinois and California. Maybe you have something that can do that. I don't profess to have encyclopedic knowledge of the thousands of cases that the left has ended up causing because Trump became president. They just not happy with any any order he issues, that they're going to try and fight it in one jurisdiction after another. So I can't tell you what the current status is of case X in jurisdiction Y. What's your issue? You okay? Are you okay?
No,
you cut out.
You cut out
for a second.
Okay.
I don't know.
So I don't.
Well, then isn't it possible then? But for what Soypill, isn't it possible then that Slotkin really did believe then, if this is really complicated and some courts are ruling some ways and some courts are ruling, that maybe these people did believe that Trump is issuing illegal orders?
Oh no, it's very possible. It's very possible they thought that.
So when you said it's the only,
so don't they have the freedom? Don't they have the freedom to say?
No,
don't they have the freedom to say?
No, because here's the question: they have to be acting under the default that it is constitutional, especially because so many of these orders that at the lower level are declared unconstitutional, and then as soon as you get to the circuit court, they say no, that's totally fine. So now how is it that if judges who are proficient in the law and understand the law are sitting here arguing about what's constitutional and what's not, how can it possibly be healthy or natural or normal for any typical military member sit there trying to figure out what the ultimate determination of law will be on this particular action that he has yet to take? It's
well,
a ridiculous. It's a ridiculous.
They already have that burden. Wait, they already have the question. Do you understand? They already have that burden, right? They're already supposed to do that.
That burden is something is so obviously egregiously beyond what the Constitution allows, and that's
like killing people in the middle of the ocean outside a country that we're not even declared war against.
You're coming to this case, which came up after they made the video,
examples?
and and I'll tell you right now, I haven't researched the law because I didn't think that when we're talking about whether or not shooting the National Guard is Trump's fault is going to somehow lead itself to a conversation about shooting down a boat in the Pacific. So I didn't look that up. And I'm not going to speak without knowing what the law is in that particular circumstance. Because
we can talk about something that Trump did that's relevant, like how the most recent case from Cobb says that what he did in deploying the National Guard was illegal. Do you think that they should ignore those orders because the person ruled
at which
that
level?
He shouldn't?
At which level of court is that?
I don't remember what
exactly. It wasn't the Supreme
Judge
Court.
Cobb is.
It wasn't.
No,
the Supreme
she's not
Court.
part of the Supreme Court.
And that's my point: is that these cases go back and forth. Now, you have to put this in a practical sense because when you're issuing,
wait, hold on. I'm
so
sorry.
Hold
on. Wait, real quick.
You're cutting me off.
Just real quick. Well, because he just misquoted something because maybe he doesn't know the difference. I don't know if he knows what a preliminary injunction is or a TRO is, but you don't need the Supreme Court to rule on something to stay or to order a preliminary injunction or a TRO. So I don't know why you just said why you're pretending that something needs to go all the way up to the Supreme Court before a lawful order is issued. Okay, just to be clear, go ahead.
I'll answer
the next thing you said. Go ahead.
I'll answer that question, which is a pretty simple question. Every time there's been a TRO that's been issued against him, Trump has fought against it all the way up to the Supreme Court. Every time.
It doesn't.
And it's happened
hold on.
dozens and dozens of times.
Are you implying, let me just be clear, are you implying that if a TRO is issued as approved against you at a district or a circuit court, that if you violate the lawful command of that TRO, of that preliminary injunction, that if it eventually gets overturned to the Supreme Court, you won't face some kind of contempt or criminal consequences?
Trump hasn't done that. He's actually bent over backwards. You want to know what Trump's biggest problem is?
Wait, can you answer that question real quick? Why can't you answer any question?
Let him respond if he doesn't answer
he didn't answer the question. He just lied and said that Trump hasn't done it. Trump did do it, by the way. It was a huge issue with the immigration case where they ignored the order that was issued. You're lying.
I'm not lying.
They told the planes to turn around and they didn't do it, and they're being They're getting in trouble for the fact that they violated that TRO, even if it was eventually overturned at a higher court. You still have to listen to the orders of the court. You can't assume you'll win later on.
This is exactly the point. Judge Boasberg, when he's sitting there trying to sit there, say, I'm in D.C. and I'm going to start directing the President of the United States as to what he can do with his military planes that are flying out of Texas and going south of the border. And I'm going to start telling him what he can do with these military planes. The audacity of Judge Boasberg in that moment was unconscionable. It was outrageous.
The audacity of a federal judge in a federal jurisdiction 100%. To make orders related to the rights of American citizens? What the fuck are you talking about? I'm sorry, hold on. Do we need the Gulf of America judges to make the rulings on this? Who would be the one to make the ruling?
I understand you haven't spent 10 seconds in law school, so you don't understand what jurisdiction means. But he has no jurisdiction.
Explain to me jurisdiction.
Jurisdiction.
You're right. Hold on. Wait. He has no jurisdiction. Well, first of all, he's fucking up jurisdiction and venue right now. No. Explain jurisdiction. Who would have jurisdiction over that?
Because of lack of venue, he doesn't have jurisdiction.
So then I was right. You need a courthouse that's floating in the Gulf of America that has proper venue and jurisdiction to hear the case?
No.
Is that what you need? No.
Just
who has jurisdiction to hear that case?
Because you're ignorant of the law doesn't mean you have a right.
See how he's doing the insults now? He has no argument. Who has the jurisdiction then? Which court hears that case? Which court hears that case?
Another. Every time.
Which court hears the case? Which court hears the case?
That would be. It would probably be a district court.
Which court?
District court in Texas, where it flies out of.
What? No, it doesn't have to be a district court in Texas. You don't know where they fly out of. You don't.
Counselor Destiny's coming here telling me it doesn't have to be there. Well, apparently the Supreme Court thought you're wrong. Maybe they should consult with you. You know the law far better than everyone else. You're sitting here mocking, saying everyone else is stupid or a liar, blah, 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 and over-talking them when you have no idea how the law actually functions. And you're like, should I have a
why did the court say that Texas? Why did the court say that they had to issue it out of Texas? A Texas court had to hear it instead of the DC one.
I'm sorry. One more. I didn't hear the
Why does the Texas court? Why is that the proper venue versus the DC one?
Because it's flying out of Texas.
Okay. What was the issue that the plaintiffs brought up in the DC case?
Which issue? Which DC case?
That's what I'm saying. Talking about where they said that the Venezuelans that brought up the case eventually it was in front of Boasberg in the DC circuit, and eventually it was ruled against them. They had to bring it up in Texas instead. Right? What was the issue?
And Boasberg got overruled. He got overruled.
Yeah, what were the plaintiffs' issues with that, though? What were the plaintiffs?
You're missing the entire point here.
It wasn't. You're sitting here. Okay, no, I'm not missing the entire point. You're misleading. You're misleading. Yes, but the issue was they couldn't choose a proper venue because the people had no notice about where they were being flown out to. That was the whole issue. Is that Trump issued this order on a Friday night? The plaintiffs brought it to a court with proper. They could hear it federally. It was a jurisdictionally a federal case, but they had to do it properly in a different venue because the government successfully argued in front of this joke Supreme Court that this was a habeas corpus claim and not an administrative procedures claim. Okay. The issue is that. But the issue the plaintiffs had was that they didn't even know. I'm not even.
You gotta let him respond, please. He lost his teammate. His teammate decided that, whatever. I don't know.
So then the question: if it would have been a Texas court, then would he have said a Texas court could have turned the planes around?
Good logic. Please go ahead.
It's an interesting legal question as to whether or not they would.
Oh my God! All right.
You asked me a question. I'm giving you a fair answer. You asked me a question. Give me an answer. What I'm saying is, you assume that courts are God, and I disagree with that.
No, I assume the courts can tell you what the law is. I'm sorry.
The Constitution.
Trump is God to you.
The Constitution. No, I don't think Trump is God. I think Trump is very fallible. I think he made a lot of mistakes. Perhaps, arguably, that he's not fascistic enough. Because if he was more of a fascist, if he was the fascist that the left claims that he is, if in fact he was, in that case, you wouldn't have Sarah Beckstrom dead right now, right? The reason this guy's here, I'm going to try to bring this back to the actual conversation, to the premise that we have here. Why is this guy here in this country? Everyone loves to say that Trump's court in April actually approved and gave him asylum. But the reason they ended up giving him asylum is because the way the law was built and baked specifically by the Biden administration was that unless this guy had committed fraud or some crime after he got here that he was convicted in a court of law for, they had to grant him the asylum. So they basically made it. They brought in all these millions of people, and in Operation Al and the OAW of where they basically say, "Hey, we're going to bring in all of these Afghanis." They basically and then they assign them temporary protected status. What they basically said is, "We're going to fast track you to getting you legalized here without any vetting, and then we're just going to basically say, oh, okay, you now can apply, and it's going to be impossible for a court to remove you because based on the way the law is written, and you have to follow what the law says based on what the law is written." Yeah, he does. In fact, he bends over
Trump
backwards.
Had no issue. So Trump had no issue flying these people to fucking Venezuela, some of which have been brought back now. He had no issue doing any of that. But he was forced to grant asylum to this guy.
Well, first and foremost, like I said, Boasberg did not have jurisdiction. You see, you're trying to deflect over to that whole Boasberg situation.
No, what I'm saying to you Trump has to follow the law. When you were just talking about how Trump doesn't have to follow the law, like 10 minutes ago.
I said,
you a direct example of how that's not true.
The only reason that Sarah Beckstrom is dead is because he's not a fascist. Because if he was a fascist, he would have had.
Why was that guy even there?
Because Biden set up that it was impossible to legally remove him. He set up that it was impossible to legally remove him. That's my point. Let me just finish this point. That if Trump was the fascist he was and he wants all these people gone, he would have ignored the law and say, I don't care what the law says, I'm deporting them. But he hasn't been doing that.
The law saying,
he literally did that when he invoked the Alien Enemies Act.
He did. But my point is, every single time, instead, what would a fascist do? A fascist would basically take his military and have them do what he wants. Instead, he tries to work within the confines of the law. Now, you don't like the way he tries to work within the confines of the law.
You were just saying Trump using the military is...
You gotta let him finish. Please.
He keeps spouting off like 6 different points. They're all contradictory. Like, can we not jump in and tell him what he's doing?
I will give you uninterrupted time as soon as he's done. My God, you guys are making me. Okay.
You also have like a little notepad instead of your camera, so I can see all his different points and remember which ones are the dumb ones I have to respond to.
All right. You see, all you have is trying to disparage me without actually refuting a single thing I say, which I take that as a compliment. Now, the
to be clear, we refuted tons of things, right?
No,
you haven't given a single example of anybody conducting himself the way that Trump has, correct? You conceded that point entirely.
Which point did I concede?
That nobody has ordered their DOJ around like Donald Trump has. Nobody's done that. You can't give a single example of that. It's unprecedented.
No, what Trump does is what he does is with transparency. He does it publicly. No, it's a conversation.
Shit, wait, is my thing lagging? Did somebody just ask if Trump was transparent or public? I didn't hear that. So I don't know who you're talking to right now. I said, is there any example of anybody ordering their DOJ around like Trump does? And you just said you mumbled something about transparent. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Do you have any examples of that?
Because I don't know what conversations are held in the Oval
Why can't you just say no? Why can't you say no? There are no examples. Trump is acting in an unprecedented manner.
I don't know that it is.
He's assuming that every other president
then why can't you provide a single example? If this is so common, give me a single example of another president ordering their DOJ like this to arrest particular political opponents.
Soypill just gave you the answer. He just told you what I said, that you pretended I didn't answer, but he understood what I was saying.
No, yeah, but that's a stupid point. I was summarizing your stupid point.
Okay, well, you can disagree with me, but like you're pretending.
Okay, so can you say
because I can't imagine, I can't look into every single government document. Therefore, I can't say for certain that no one has done what Trump has done, even though Trump is the only one we know who has actually done it. That's what you're saying.
He's the only one who tells you what he's going to do before he does it. He tells you by Truth Social, which you can.
Hey, do you know? So does Donald Trump know about the existence of aliens?
I don't know what you're trying to go to here.
Well, I don't know. I mean, like, he hasn't said it publicly, so like I can only assume that it must maybe be true that every president knows about the existence of aliens, and we can all just operate under that assumption instead of no, because we have zero evidence of it, and there would be no reason to assume it's true, right?
I have no idea where you're going here. I have no idea what your point is.
Because you are assuming that every other president has maybe done just as bad as what Trump has done with the DOJ, only because they've done it clandestinely.
Oh, there's indicia of that. There's indicia of that.
What's one example?
When you refute the indicia, which I said, if you're weaponizing your tax agency, you think you're not weaponizing your DOJ? That's the first place you go is hey, let's harass them with taxes. You think that's the first thing that happens?
But we're not talking about the IRS. I'm talking about the Department of Justice. Whereas the President of the United States told the Department of Justice on who to prosecute.
I don't know.
Just say there's no examples. That's fine. You're going to say there's no examples of that.
What's Jack Smith? What's Jack Smith? What's that?
Jack Smith was a special counsel that was appointed by the Attorney General.
Yeah, but who's Attorney General work for?
The Attorney General didn't communicate, but because you say who does he work for? That's not the American people. The Attorney General is appointed by the President of the United States. The Attorney General does not take, the AG does not take orders from the President on who to prosecute.
Really? Really? Then why Merrick Garland just decide to appoint someone? Why did they not go through the normal confirmation process with Jack Smith? So much so that the case in Florida got tossed out because he didn't have jurisdiction to actually bring the case.
The case in Florida got tossed out because Thomas wrote some incredibly stupid thing about how Jack Smith wasn't legally appointed or whatever. It was the only special prosecutor who wasn't legally appointed. But the reality
why wasn't he legally appointed?
Why would he even need that special prosecutor when Merrick Garland himself could just go after Donald Trump? And also, this is all a pivot. You just say you can't give an example of somebody going after a political opponent like Donald Trump has.
No, what I'm saying is that if you're going after people with your IRS, you're certainly going after them with your DOJ.
So no, you can't. Can you name any executive orders besides the ones written by Trump that have targeted particular people?
So I'll explain to the law, and I say, can you refute the law? And then when you try refuting, I'll say, so no, you can't. You see, that's not. You're trying to win an argument rather than make a point.
I'm making the point I'm making is that there are no presidents in U.S. history that have given direct instructions to their attorney generals to go after political opponents, even naming out the unqualified prosecutor that they want to use, the unappointed, unconfirmed one, the unconfirmed prosecutor to use to go after them.
You think Mark Kelly is a political?
You see this pivot?
No,
this pivot?
I'm asking a question. What you just said. I'm not pivoting. I'm asking a question. What you just said. What you just said sounds ridiculous.
Donald Trump's Truth Social, where he says that Pam Bondi needs to go after 3 people.
Yeah.
He names
they're his political opponents. They're a threat to
him.
Are they a threat to him?
Yes.
How so?
No, they made him mad because he's a narcissist.
No, so I'm saying, so they're not his political opponents. They're just people who made him mad.
Yes. Those are politically. They're his political opponents.
Why? No.
Yes.
What makes them a political opponent? Political opponent is someone who you're actually, competing with in politics. Is that not the case?
So the president has no political opponents because he's the president of the United States and
no
one else is running for his office anymore? Stop. This is what a stupid argument that you're trying to make right now. Donald Trump targeted people on a political basis, not on a prosecutor, not he thought they broke the law. And you can't give me any examples of anybody else doing anything even remotely similar. You can't. You have none.
We have to. Again, I'm gonna have to. Do I have to have timers in this shit, right? Do I have to have 1 minute for one side, 1 minute for the other? I hoped we could have like an actual back and forth conversation, but this is. I actually
don't mind the way he's been trying to cut me off. I do think he actually makes his argument sound weaker when he's trying to desperately say, "You're saying nothing, you're stupid. You're saying nothing, you're stupid," rather than actually trying to make a point back at me.
I did make a point. You can't give example. You were pointing this IRS thing that led to no criminal charges. Even Donald Trump's own DOJ didn't pursue anything more after that.
And I also pointed to Biden's DOJ trying to prosecute him. I also point. I can point
because he broke the law.
I want to bring this back to the topic.
No, somebody trying to prosecute you, somebody is not. No, this is on topic. Trust me. Somebody trying to prosecute you doesn't mean that you're being politically hunted. It's because he broke the law flagrantly and openly.
Broke the law flagrantly and openly. So much so that the ones you actually got convictions on, no one can even understand what law he broke. I'm talking about the
Mar-a-Lago cases. I'm talking about the Mar-a-Lago cases. And guess what? There were more convictions in that than there were in any IRS bullshit you're bringing up, right?
You tell me, Destiny, if it's so obvious, if everything there was so crystal clear, why did they not bother going through the normal confirmation process with Jack Smith?
This is completely irrelevant.
No.
It's very relevant. Even used a special counsel. No,
it's very relevant.
That they even used a special counsel shows that Biden is not directly ordering his attorney general.
But he wasn't an actual special counsel. That's my point. He was just an extension of Garland, who's an extension of Biden. They pretended it was.
So did Biden order this? Did Biden order this? Did Biden order this?
I have no idea. Biden. I don't know if Biden.
So we're not even talking about this. So maybe Merrick Garland is the deep state secret agent.
No, what I'm saying is, I don't think Biden himself do it, but I definitely think people who work for him in the Oval Office, who are the ones who are controlling his automatic pen. I think those people are the ones who are controlling Merrick Garland and Jack Smith 100%.
What is the evidence we have right now so far of the auto pen? Just curious. Not the one that Trump got caught using, but the one that Biden was supposedly using.
Now you're going. My point is, you're asking me if Biden did it. I'm saying the Oval Office.
You just made another bullshit claim. Oh, who told Merrick Garland then? Since you seem to know this, just tell us. You have nothing. Everything you say is a fucking lie. How many people were convicted? You said that Donald Trump's 34 felonies and convictions were bullshit. How many people were convicted over the Obama tax fraud stuff? How many people got convicted from that? Keeping in mind that Donald Trump was the next. The answer is fucking 0. So this isn't even remotely equivalent because that whole case was fucking bullshit. Everybody knew it.
So now you're living in the naive world where you think that if you can, that because no one prosecuted folks from the Obama administration, that means everything there was 100% above board. That's what you think.
It was investigated, and there were no charges recommended.
Okay.
And Donald Trump was the next president,
charges.
And he didn't. He investigated, and
no
he didn't
charges.
Recommend. His DOJ didn't find
no charges brought against Hillary for when with everything
Hillary
that she
didn't break
did.
The law. Hillary didn't break any laws.
I don't think you believed that 8 years ago.
I know that. I'm pretty sure that's.
I'm pretty sure you didn't hold that position 8 years ago. Oh my God.
What law did she break? What did she break? What was the proof that she was intentionally retaining classified material? Like Donald Trump was at Mar-a-Lago. You at least acknowledge that. Donald Trump was intentionally retaining classified material at Mar-a-Lago. He knew it was there, and he knew it wasn't supposed to be there. And he hid it from investigators when they came to find it.
I think he intentionally held documents in Mar-a-Lago. That I agree with.
Okay, that's the first thing investigation.
I don't know if he legally obstructed it, but I can hear an argument. I actually thought that of all the cases that they brought against him, the Mar-a-Lago case probably had the most sound legal footing.
Okay, so if you're willing to admit it was a slam dunk, So what did Hillary do? That was obviously and clearly
I didn't want to.
against the law.
We can go. We can go into Hillary, but this is really flying far afield. My point is, the only reason I brought up Hillary was not to devolve into a whole conversation as to her illegal conduct. The point was that no matter how nefarious people are, if you're in Washington and you're a Democrat, you're not going to get prosecuted for it, and you'll never get convicted. There's no way you're going to get convicted because
what happened to Hunter Biden? What happened to Hunter Biden?
Hunter Biden was a gift. And when Hunter Biden was a gift.
Do you see the pivot? Do you do this now? I'm just curious, like person. Is this an ordinary mental process for you? Do you have to think about how hard you pivot?
Was he convicted?
You just said no Democrat got convicted, and I just gave you a guy.
Was Hunter Biden convicted?
Yes, of two Democrats. Yeah.
No, he was pleading.
Which just counts as a conviction.
No, but you can't get a jury to do it. You can't get a jury to do it. You can't get 12.
Then wait, if he couldn't get a jury to do it, then why would he take a plea deal? Wait, if he knew he was going to beat every jury, then why did he take the plea deal?
Because
what is the difference legally between a conviction by plea deal and a conviction by jury?
Well, he's trying to make the argument that the jury wouldn't convict because everybody's so biased and he can't get a fair trial anywhere because all the Democrats
not
love
anywhere.
in DC.
Not anywhere.
Then why? Then why did he take a plea deal if he knew he would always beat the jury because they love Democrats so much?
The entire point of the Hunter Biden prosecution was to try and give cover that there was some legitimacy to the Trump prosecutions. That's why. That's the only reason they did it in the first place. And they also knew.
Comey and they also Jim Jordan were all on board with the Democratic Party here. What evidence do you have of this?
No, what I'm saying that, but they didn't.
Do you have any evidence of this?
100. What do you mean? Do I have any evidence of this? They didn't bring the most serious
charges. Shred of evidence.
They didn't bring the most serious charges.
Why not? Why not? Why not?
Because it wasn't a real prosecution.
Yes, because it was a bullshit Republican talking point. Yeah, I agree. Who started that? Who started the whole sham prosecution into Hunter Biden? It was Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani. Why do you think it was
should have been a real prosecution?
And it wasn't, though, because the confidential informant that started off that whole prosecution lied about everything. Donald Trump and Giuliani literally made phone calls to Zelensky begging him to announce this sham prosecution. That's why it fucking went nowhere. It was bullshit from the very start.
Are we actually going back to 2018?
Oh, just real quick, Soypill's been wanting in.
Sorry.
I mean, if you want to recenter the debate a little bit, the whole reason we're talking about all this Trump bullshit is because we're talking about how he has fostered the environment for inflamed rhetoric and violence and all this other stuff. And it seems like you're willing to get on your knees and defend literally anything that he did. So can you, other than not being fascist enough, is there a single thing you think Trump has done to contribute to the inflammatory, violent nature and rhetoric of what's going on right now?
I definitely think of things that he's done wrong during this administration. But as far as him inflaming
in regards to the rhetoric,
I mean, I would think that some of the things he says definitely gets people angry. So if to that extent, I would think that there's the
okay. So that sounds like the charitable. Well, you're triggered. I'm saying, does he do something wrong that is contributing to the violent nature and the tensions in this country? Because that's like the first axiom of this whole National Guard thing. We're never going to move past it if you can't admit that he's at least done that.
I don't think he sits there trying. Well, let me think that through.
Okay, so like
I want to think through. I want to actually think.
Well, I'm giving him an example. I'm bailing him out right now.
No,
so when Charlie Kirk got blasted,
the last thing I need is for you to bail me out. Yeah, I think that some of the things he says is designed to troll. So I think that a fair claim can be made that definitely amps up the rhetoric.
I don't know why every single like horrible thing Trump does, you have to lube up so it'll fit into your mouth. So what I'm saying is, when Charlie Kirk got blasted,
if you were less filthy, I'd have more respect for you.
If you were less of a total fucking Trump dick suck, maybe we could have a real conversation.
If you were less filthy, I would have more respect for you. I can have a real
conversation. I have zero respect for you, so I'm not going to be less filthy. So here, can we talk, please? Hey, Whick, can I talk? Because I've been listening to this guy.
I'm not going to. Okay, so you can sit there pretending that you're going somewhere.
Stop. Everyone stop. Good logic. Finish, and then Soypill can finish.
No, I didn't finish. He interrupted me.
No, what I'm simply saying is that I might have no respect for you, but I'm still going to at least fake it.
Why?
Because I was bred by two parents.
I don't care about your personal life.
I was bred by two parents who actually taught me how to engage in discourse. You're not winning an argument if you're just calling me some dick sucker or whatever stupid childish word you want to throw at me.
That is the preamble to the point I'm making. It is clear you're a dick suck. I want to make an actual logical statement afterwards. Okay?
That's not actually making a point. You're not making a point.
Because you interrupted me before I got to the logical part.
Well, you would get there a lot faster if you wouldn't waste everyone's time by trying to show that you're such a man that you can use words that are used by fifth graders.
Do you look at me and tell me that I'm trying to appear as such a man? tell me that, please.
Touche. Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
I will agree with your logic here. Hold on. Soypill, can you please stop trying to act like Donald Trump does on social media every single fucking day? That good logic thinks is epic and hilarious. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that. No, yeah. So when Donald Trump said after the Kirk shooting, and we didn't know anything at all about the shooter, and said, this is the left, they're coming for you, they're violent, we're going to stop them, we're going to root out this evil in our country, he called Democrats pests. This was not he trolled. This was not he said things that made people mad. This was him inflaming the rhetoric. Would you agree with that?
I think he was speaking out of fury.
Okay.
Wait. Speaking out of fury to inflame the rhetoric. That's what it. That's
no, it's not. I don't. You're saying that his objective is to inflame the rhetoric. No,
he never said that. You can inflame the rhetoric without.
You're saying that's why.
Without
and
it
I'm
being
saying
intentional.
I don't think that's.
No.
I don't think it's his
What
objective.
is this standard? Hold on.
Standard? I'm not saying it's okay. I didn't say it's okay.
I didn't
say it's okay.
No one said it was okay. We asked if it was inflaming the rhetoric. You don't have to intend to inflame the rhetoric to inflame the rhetoric.
Well, you said the reason he did it was to inflame the rhetoric.
No, I think he just asked if it did inflame the rhetoric.
Well, we can go back to the tape if you want.
Well, ask that question. Soypill, do you think? Sorry, let's pretend he said it. Did it inflame the rhetoric?
Possibly.
Oh my God.
Wait, possibly like I can only know if I see the secret documents that the previous presidents are hiding and will never reveal, or possibly like, yeah, probably, but I haven't looked at the polling afterwards or how the entire right reacted to his statements.
Possibly in the sense that I don't think it's something that's really calculable.
Then nothing is calculable, right?
Well, can I ask?
No, you're saying what? In what way is it inflamed? What was it at? What is it measured?
Well,
like what? In what measurable
as in, if
ways?
you're a follower as in, if you're a follower of Donald Trump, you feel like you have invulnerability from the laws because you know that Donald Trump will pardon you if you commit crimes on his behalf or if you commit violence on his behalf, because he said that when the right commits violence, it's righteous, and when the left commits violence, it's just them being unhinged.
You're saying it inflamed the rhetoric. How did that manifest into any damage? Tell me who was harmed because of what he said. Tell me one person who was harmed since Charlie Kirk by the left. That you're saying that he's making such a dangerous circumstance. So you tell me the person on the left who's been victimized because of that tweet or the entire aggregate
of tweets. The whole country has been victimized. What do you mean?
Tell me one person who actually went out there and did anything violent because of something Trump ever said.
Any of the left doing violent stuff against any conservative, the left-leaning people committing violence can be attributed to some extent to what the right-leaning president says. You don't think you can inflame violence against people on the other side?
So when he says that the left is deliriously deranged and dangerous, that now is inflaming the left and justifies them actually manifesting that by going out and killing people. That's what your point is. Did Biden never
say anything like that? I didn't say justify. Why did you add that word in there? Where did justifies come from?
Right.
Is the other person in the call again that I can't hear?
I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
When did I ever say it justified the left being violent? Hold on. I just want, just to be clear, crystal clear so the court reporter can get it on the record. You don't think that the president of the United States can say things that would incite the other side to violence? You don't think the president of the United States can do that? He doesn't have that power? When he speaks, only his own side hears him?
Your point is that he's amping up the rhetoric.
Why can't he ever answer a fucking question?
I don't understand your point.
You just can't answer a question.
Okay, maybe I can question.
I'm sorry. Hold on, let me rephrase. Can a guy say mean thing that even the guy's enemies think is a really mean thing and makes them do bad things? Is that possible?
And you think it's more likely they listen to him than to their own people?
I don't even understand what's happening. It's got to be intentional.
Okay, I gotta translate because I think we're missing.
No, don't fucking translate what I'm saying. I'm gonna start screaming racial slurs.
Yeah.
He knows exactly what I'm saying. It's a fucking game.
Racial slurs. Oh no.
All right. Flawed logic. Get this. All right. If it's a white guy and a black guy, and they're having an argument, and the white guy busts out the N-word, do you think that's turning up the rhetoric? Because it might make the other guy more angry. So the white guy's not getting more angry, but he has turned up the rhetoric, right, by introducing this horrible slur. Is that possible that you can inflame the other side?
That's theoretically possible. I think it's a childish perspective to believe that's actually what happens.
You don't think
I think that's childish. I think that's a very, very childish perspective. That you're saying.
Then what's the left turning up the rhetoric?
I think you have to be an idiot to actually think that that's what happened. And I was giving you the benefit of the doubt that you were not quite that stupid. That you think that after all the hate that they've been ratcheting up against President Trump and the right, actually before Trump even came along, that they've been ratcheting up since 2008, that they've been ratcheting up against the right, saying that they're Nazis, they're fascists, and they're misogynists, and they're transphobes, and they're homophobes, and they're the most evil people ever.
Did the right, the right not?
No, I'm not doing my point, so stop trying to interrupt me.
The fake virtue signal is so fucking cringe. It's cringe when wokies do it, and it's cringe when conservatives do it.
You're doing it right now. You're still doing it right now. you think that after decades of the left basically screaming about how evil everyone on the right is on, that you think that when he sends out a tweet saying how deranged and seriously dangerous the left is, that is what makes them now act deranged and delirious? How stupid do you have to be to think that his words are what's influencing him in any measurable way at all? Could it theoretically, so to answer your ridiculously stupid, childish question, could it theoretically have an impact? Yes. Would any reasonable person think that, yes, now that's why they're violent? All of a sudden, now they're violent? You have to be a moron beyond belief to actually think that's true.
Okay, what would the president have to say to turn off the rhetoric in your mind?
Or I'm curious, what do you think Obama... do you acknowledge that Republicans have been calling everybody on the left commies and socialists for decades? All throughout Obama's term, he was called a communist and a socialist. Do you acknowledge that?
Yes.
Okay. Who were like the number one enemies of America for the prior 70 years when they were calling Obama a communist?
No, when they were calling him a communist, communism was not that big a threat at that point. At that point, Islam was a much bigger threat.
Do you think Nazis are a big threat?
Okay, yeah, then cool. Then what was a more recent threat? Communists or fascists in the world?
Well, I think that when you're calling someone the most evil person ever...
he realized he just walked himself in the dumbest
No.
Hitler has been dead for 80 years. Shit. I mean, he's not that big of a deal, right?
Fuck. Oh, no, that's so awkward. I feel so awkward for you, bro. You're supposed to cringe.
I'm done.
Good logic. You respond, please.
Yeah, there's a very big difference. No, the public does not recognize communism for the danger that it is. They don't recognize socialism for the danger it is. You don't take offense at being called a socialist. You embrace it.
Which political party did we ban? Was it the USA Communist Party?
Being called a socialist or communist.
Do you not?
Who was the? What did it call? Was it
the
Brown scare that we had?
Do you not embrace the term socialist?
Me? No, fuck no. And it doesn't matter if you embrace it or not. Black people call themselves the N-word. I can't go around and call them the N-word and say, well, you guys embrace it, don't you? What a stupid fucking point.
But what I'm saying is so it's not a slur if I call you something that you happily admit you are. As opposed to calling someone a Nazi.
If you called me a faggot, I wouldn't assume that you're saying it as a term of endearment. What are you talking about? I'm sorry, that's what I mean. No, hold on. What do you mean? Just because somebody says something about themselves like this doesn't mean that it all of a sudden doesn't become a slur. I mean, as I says it. Also, in the era of Obama, we just spent the whole 60 whatever fucking years in the whole Cold War. How are you trying to pretend like communism wasn't the number one threat to the United States? What was the Cuban Missile Crisis about? You don't think every single American,
I'll quote Obama himself. I'll answer you by quoting Obama himself. The 1980s are calling in their foreign policy. They want their foreign policy back. No one was worried about socialism and communism in 2012.
Then why were they calling him a communist as an insult?
Because it wasn't as an insult. They were saying he's a threat. They weren't saying that he's an insult. They're saying he's a danger to capitalism. Yes.
And what do you do to communist dangers of capitalism? What do you do? We just spent the past 60 years doing the dangers of capitalism.
Why do you think we call people fascist or Nazi? Do you think it's because we're insulting them?
No, I think it is considered, but it's considered an insult because if you're embracing socialism and I call you a socialist, I might mean it as an offense. I might look at it as a terrible thing. When you say Donald Trump should be more fascist, do you think that's embracing fascism a little bit? No, I'm saying I don't think. By the way, what I'm saying is, if he were more fascist, we would be in a less dangerous situation. I don't want him to be
true because all the enemies would be dead by now.
I don't want him to be a fascist. What I'm saying is the reason he's having these problems is because he's bending over backwards to try and work within the binds of the Constitution.
His vice president
really believe this.
Literally ran on, let's try to ignore all of the judges. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? When did he say that?
JD Vance saying, let's ignore all the judges when he was running for president.
He did the Andrew Jackson meme quote.
I'm not sure. He's saying no.
The Supreme Court has made its ruling. Now let's see them try to enforce it. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, he was saying.
I'm referring to where he said, like, let's ignore the courts because the courts are saying things that go against us and our agenda when he was running for president.
Okay,
was this not like a thing that you paid attention to? I'm assuming you voted for Trump. I would probably.
JD Vance, I think you're an idiot if you think Vance ran for president. I don't even know what you're trying to say. I don't know what you're trying to say.
He was just the vice president, bro. Can we go back to Hunter Biden now? Oh my God.
I don't know what you're trying to say. When did Vance
ran on an agenda of let's ignore judge rulings so that we can get our agenda done? Do you know this, or are you completely ignorant?
That's completely made up.
Do you want me to? I'll send you the quote.
Well, that's okay. All right, good.
Okay.
We'll have fun.
That's okay.
I want to.
I mean, I know you don't like to do research on the people
time and maybe the final time, right? The third time, the final time to please bring us back on topic. Good logic. So if Trump is not to blame here, right, and you feel that, as I understand, he has no culpability in this, I guess I'll ask this. do you think that the Democrats have any, or Democrat politicians or any specifics, have any culpability in what happened to the National Guard in D.C.? Why or why not? Go ahead.
I think that bringing people in here without vetting them, I think that's a serious problem. You're creating a dangerous situation, and we've seen the repercussions and countless dead people for that would not be here, but for the fact that we decided we're not going to be worried about who's coming in here because we're going to try and bring in here as many people as we can. And I think that was part of the Democratic agenda. I think that's one of the things that Trump is trying to rectify. So yeah, I think the fact that there's it continue with respect to this particular shooting, because we don't know the motives of the shooter yet. So I think it would be inappropriate for me to tell you the reason he shot was because of policy A, B, C, or D. I know people are saying that he was screaming Allahu Akbar. I don't know what his motivations were. I don't think anyone here knows what his motivations were. But I would say that the continual rhetoric where you're saying that the other side is full of fascists, Nazis, and racists, that is not people you negotiate with. You don't negotiate with fascists and racists. I wouldn't negotiate with a fascist or racist. I hate racists.
Didn't Trump call Democrats fascist? Didn't he call Kamala Harris a fascist?
Mm-hmm.
It's very possible. I don't know when.
It's not possible. It's 100% true.
He did.
He
He
Okay.
said that.
Okay.
I also linked you to the
Okay.
J.D. Vance quote if you want to read it and educate yourself, because you apparently didn't keep up to date with the people you're voting for. But
I keep up to date with people I voted for. I voted for Donald Trump.
yeah, did you know that there's like
Well,
this
and
big
JD Vance,
second
you
name
voted
on
for
all the
both.
posters?
It's a two-person thing.
Like,
What I'm saying is,
like,
no.
yeah,
Do I actually?
part of the
Yeah. But for one reason or another, when I vote, I don't actually look at every single interview that both candidates have.
Sure,
with every
but I
party
might look
all
at like the
time.
very important things about how they're going to conduct themselves as president. Like, hey, ignore the courts. That's a pretty big one for me.
Well, and what we saw is that they haven't. Time and
Well,
again, they
they want
haven't. They
Yeah, they're doing
want
everything
to.
they can
Yeah, of
to get
course
away
they
with
want to. You want to see him. You want to see him dead, but you're not going to kill him.
No, I super don't actually.
You don't want to see. You don't want to see Trump die.
No, I want to see him rot in a jail cell until he dies of old age. But I hope it
Okay.
happens peacefully and patriotically.
Well, you're unlike most of your kin.
Okay.
I'm just saying, assuming that's true, you're unlike most of your kin. My point is, you're sitting here trying to say that some sort of gotcha on me, that I don't know he purportedly said something about ignoring judges. What I'm saying is what we've seen.
It's not gotcha. It's like a big hole in your entire structure of, hey, I voted for this guy who's very explicitly doing his best to do illegal things and doing everything he can to ignore the
he's
courts.
not doing
And then,
illegal things.
Out of the other side of your mouth saying, actually, he's doing everything he can to follow the law, which is just blatantly not true.
He has 100% been doing that, because he could have just said, F you, I'm doing what I want. And he hasn't. Whenever there's an order,
That's basically what he's done, to be clear. Right?
Whenever there's been an order, I'll tell you this much: does he try to find loopholes in what they say? 100%, he has. He has. But that's there's a very significant difference. The very significant difference is the difference between following the Constitution and fascism. So despite the fact that you guys keep calling him a fascist, he has not been a fascist. If he had been a fascist, his life probably would have been a lot simpler. I'm glad he's not given into that temptation. A lesser man would have. But he hasn't.
He gives in every single day. The funny thing is, it would take a greater man to even be fascist, because he's too childlike in his narcissism to even fathom a political ideology. That's why he becomes a cum vessel for every fucking person around him, like Stephen Miller or JD Vance or all these other people. Does this really work for you?
The whole cum dick sucker thing. Does that really
does it really work for you to pretend not to know any event ever that goes contrary to your narrative? That when calling people fascist is the most important thing in the world, you don't know a single time that Trump has said it, even though it's been headline news every time he's done it. But you pretend not to know a single fucking thing about any of it. Is it really crazy that you seem to know every single court order, and you want to go and dig into why a special prosecutor may or may not have been legally assigned, but you don't know anything about the DC court saying that, oh, actually the deployment of the National Guard here was actually against the law? The selective knowledge is fucking epic. Keep it up. Seems to work for you.
I do have a question for
the issue. The issue that you just raised, that on November 20th, that there was an order at the district court. My point is, that's an order that's a district court, which did not come out, did not exist at the time that they made the video, and is almost certainly going to be overturned at the next level. So, do you understand how dangerous it is? Do you understand? I'm asking you a question now. Do you understand just how dangerous it is to have members of Congress go out there and start advocating just blanketly that if there's an unconstitutional order that you need to that he's issuing orders, and you do agree that they've say over and over again. Let's start with this premise. Do you agree that they've said over and over again that there have been unconstitutional orders that Trump and this administration have issued? Do both of you agree with that premise?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so if they've been saying that over and over again, now let's try to figure out how this will practically apply to any member of our military if they actually take to heart the message that those seditious six were throwing out there. So what they're actually saying—
I don't know who the seditious six are. Also, Donald Trump literally pardoned 12 people convicted of seditious conspiracy. No, I don't know what seditious six. Nobody's been convicted of anything. You acknowledge the only time
is a
you acknowledge Donald Trump pardoned. It's a histrionic delusion in your mind.
Okay,
Donald Trump pardoned people convicted of seditious conspiracy. With the seditious conspiracy,
you gotta
help him, right?
Just real quick, Destiny, you gotta let him ask his question. You've asked plenty of questions.
No, he can't load it. If I'm allowed to load, if I can say 10 personal stories while asking a question,
too, it's okay.
No, I don't. We can go back and forth all he wants.
You always do.
Because I'm responding to the 50 million things. I try to
Right?
ask a simple yes or no question. He fucking runs off on fucking 50 million. He's out of my jurisdiction to answer these questions. I don't know what Delulu land he's in when he's talking half the fucking time.
Look, how he answers it is his problem, and you can hold him to account if he fails to answer your question. That's fine. But he's going to ask you a question, and we do got to give him. He has been gracious to us to come on tonight and to stay, and we appreciate that. And we're going to let him ask you a question now. Go ahead. Good logic. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, the point that I'm making is, what practical impact could this have? You recognize, you've admitted that the seditious six, which I'm using that as a reference to the six people who made that 90-second commercial. The six members of Congress made that commercial. I didn't coin that term. Pete Hegseth used that term. Several people have used that term. I think it's a rather apt term, and they obviously are not convicted of committing sedition, but it's just a way of referencing those six members of Congress. So now,
here, can we use your standard then for
he hasn't asked his question yet. You got to let him ask his goddamn question.
His question was, could it lead to something bad? And I'm going to use his standard for Trump.
No, not
can you point to a single violent action or insubordination that has happened? Because
you're answering a question you think he's going to ask, but he hasn't yet asked it. Let him ask it so that even if you can mind read it, the audience might not have your abilities to mind read. So let him ask the question. The audience can hear the question, and then they can hear your response. Great, good. Go ahead. Good logic.
So now, assuming you're a supporter of Alyssa Slotkin, you voted for her, or you voted for one of these other members of the Seditious Six, and you think that they're a very important and significant voice in Congress. So you take what they say to heart, and you're a member of the military. What do you think your reaction is now every time you get an order that is borderline okay, not okay? It's questionable. Maybe it's constitutional, maybe it's not. Do you think that there's going to be
the reaction would probably be, maybe I should hesitate. I've seen this person do potentially illegal things, and I'm going to be extra vigilant about it. But just with your criteria for the Trump inflaming the rhetoric post Charlie Kirk assassination, I'm going to ask you: can you point to a single violent thing? To a single violent thing that has happened because of the Seditious Six video, or anyone who's disobeyed an order in a way that has caused people to get hurt?
No, it's only happened. They only did this 2 weeks ago.
Okay, well then I will just say probably this could happen, but it didn't. So.
Oh, okay. No, but since they're setting up a situation that probably could happen, that's sedition. Because what you're looking at in the practical terms here is that there very likely can be orders that some people will think is unconstitutional. Some people will think is not unconstitutional. Even judges may disagree. At the district court level, might be called unconstitutional. Circuit court level, it'll be overturned and said totally fine. But those orders have to be carried out in the moment by an individual with a limited time frame and very limited knowledge of the law. So instead of them being able to focus on it, now this Slotkin supporter, this Mark Kelly supporter, who's in the military and is holding the yaw of some fighter plane and has to decide what they're going to do, now has that going through their head. That makes for a much more dangerous situation for an action that a court later on, very likely, very, very plausibly, will actually say was constitutional. So now what these seditious six have done is they've made a very dangerous, hostile situation way more dangerous. That's why it's
you understand. Wait. You understand that it might be a good chilling effect that people in the military might ignore orders from a fascist president, right? I'm only using fascist president because that's the nickname a lot of people have given him, right? But you understand that might be a good chill. Not all chilling effects are bad, right? It might be that we do want our military soldiers. Maybe that's why it's even in the military code of conduct. Maybe that's why when you were at Abu Ghraib, you couldn't just say, a military commander told me to do this, and you could still be held accountable. Maybe it's good that our U.S. soldiers are thinking about these things. No?
No.
It
never happened?
There could be theoretically.
Hold on, wait. Answer my question. So my next question. Answer my question. Next question. Wait, Donald Trump. I just wanted to be clear. Then you can say even more if you want. Donald Trump pardoned some of the only people ever convicted in U.S. history of seditious conspiracy that were trying to help him overturn an election. Right? You acknowledge that Donald Trump literally pardoned all of those people, right?
Were those actually charges? Seditious conspiracy?
They were
Yes.
convictions.
No,
Yes,
convictions
on seditious
of
conspiracy.
It was sedition. Which people were convicted of seditious
Enrico
conspiracy?
The
Tario,
12.
the
You don't even
Proud Boys,
fucking
a
know.
couple of the
Holy
other
shit!
militias. Do you really
What
not
do you
know
even do? What do you read? What is your Twitter feed? Is it Elon Musk just fucking whatever random right-wing conservative news down your throat every morning?
I wasn't. I know Enrico Tario got very serious charges. I just wasn't sure it was seditious conspiracy.
It was.
All right.
Okay, so you acknowledge Donald Trump pardoned all of them of seditious conspiracy. The only time people.
And why is that a problem?
I don't know. I'm just curious. You say
Do you think
sedition is
that's-
really bad? You think sedition is like one of the worst things that could ever possibly happen? And Donald Trump has now demonstrated that if you commit a seditious conspiracy, but it's to help him, to help Donald Trump maintain power, that he'll reward you for it. He'll pardon you for those charges.
No,
Ultimately.
that's a reward. That's not a reward. It's simply he said, I'm not going to let you face
Not
punishment.
being in jail for 20 years is not a reward.
No, what I'm saying is I think that he looked at all those prosecutions as if they were persecutions.
Okay, so how does that change what I said? So maybe you could commit sedition as long as it was for Trump, because he'll think it's always been a persecution, and either Trump or the Republicans will bail you out.
Oh, I don't think they committed sedition. That's what I was talking about as far as the
know
TC.
about it
I'm
until
sorry.
5 seconds
Yeah, you don't
ago.
even fucking know the fucking charges. I know you're not familiar with the fucking indictments. You have no fucking idea what any of these guys even did, clearly.
No,
And it
I'm
doesn't-
far,
to be frank,
I'm far more
to be
familiar
frank,
with
it
most of
doesn't.
them than
I'm sorry, but it doesn't really matter what you think, because a jury of peers disagreed with you and they were convicted. So it doesn't really matter, okay?
Okay.
So how could people think, if they were pardoned of seditious conspiracy, wouldn't that be like the #1 green light to commit sedition? If you know the president of the United States is going to bail you out if you do it and somebody tries to hold you accountable for it, more than 6 random Congress people saying
So
something about don't ignore unlawful orders?
Your question is that by him pardoning someone for sedition, that the impact of that is that people will engage in sedition, confident that even if they get convicted, Trump will pardon them.
Yes.
Is that? And where lay out how this would actually unfold? Because
Well,
I'm
maybe
talking
somebody
about.
might try to.
I laid out.
Maybe
you know
somebody
what?
might. I can lay out.
okay.
Maybe somebody like
You'll
Tina
let him-
Peters might try to
Oh.
help rig an election and think that she's doing the right thing the whole time. Maybe somebody like Mike Lindell might do things to try to help people win an election in defamatory ways. Maybe Fox News or people at that news network might try to help him win an election in defamatory ways that would help them be civilly liable, because they see that as long as Trump wins, he'll forgive them of everything. Like Ashley Babbitt her family was awarded some multi-million-dollar payout, even though she clearly was breaking the law and clearly got shot for justifiable reasons. Or maybe he'll pardon everybody or give you some other kind of payout. Somebody else was just given a big payout from the fucking federal government who was involved with, I would argue, seditious stuff. Like, how do you not see this as being a direct, when you literally have a lot of the J6ers that were convicted literally said they were there because they thought Donald Trump would save them. Like, this has actually happened. It's not a hypothetical. It's actually happened.
I don't know what the point to that last part was. But so I'm not sure even why you're asking this question, other than to say that there could be a ramification from him issuing a pardon, that now because he issued a pardon, other people will commit sedition in the future to try and help him. Is that the point you're trying to get to?
It's the most toothless way of reforming my point, and you've removed so much from it that, yeah, you're about to say something really stupid like, oh, should all pardons be made illegal now?
You're so bad at guessing what I'm going to say.
It's usually dumber than even I can fathom. Go ahead.
Let him speak.
I thought you were good at this.
I thought you were a lawyer.
Is it possible that it can have that impact? Sure.
That wasn't my question. It's already had that impact. People have already committed crimes with the expectation that Trump would be there to save them, and he did.
That's pretty wild. That they
said that?
No, that's pretty wild that you're saying in 2020, when he's the outgoing president, that they're going out there and that they're going to engage in sedition, which frankly, you named one person, Enrico Tario, who you're saying was convicted of seditious conspiracy. And I'll assume that that's correct, that he actually was. But the thousands of people who were there, they were not charged with seditious conspiracy. None of them.
Because they weren't plotting and planning ahead of time,
right? So
these guys were, the Oath Keepers were, and like the Proud Boys were.
So what I'm saying is, you're talking about one person here who engaged, who was found guilty of engaging in seditious conspiracy.
It was dozens, I'm pretty sure.
It was dozens. Well, the people that were, I think it was only.
You
12
gave me
for the
Enrico
seditious conspiracy.
Tario. Yeah, that's why I thought it was only one.
But it was the people. Well, there were at least 4 other Oath Keepers that were convicted. I'm pretty sure in the initial batch there were like 7 or 8.
You agree with me though that the 1,000 or so roughly convictions, all the 1,000, the hordes of people that he commuted their sentence, They were not charged with seditious conspiracy, right?
No, it was Enrique Tarrio, Joseph Briggs, Zachary Real, Ethan Nordine, Stuart Rhodes, Kelly Meggs, and we can keep going. But like, it was a bunch of people. Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, this, as far as the people who expected him to save them when they're doing something illegal, you're talking, was it those dozen people? Because I assumed that
the people
everybody that marched, everybody that marched.
Exactly.
Yeah. A few weeks before he said, "Proud Boys, stand back and stand by." Yeah, those people. We're talking about those people.
Well, but everybody that went to the Capitol expected Trump would bail them out, which he did.
He did or didn't?
He did.
He did, but he didn't until
he pardoned
all
until
of them. 2025.
Well, they thought he was going to win the election in 2020. That's what they were there for. Was to help coup the election.
No one thought that. No one thought
what?
No one thought that was going to happen.
So why were they protesting on January 6th? Wait. Why were they protesting on the day of January 6th?
They were trying to forestall in order for there to be a count. But you're telling me that they're going there.
Wait, account for what? What would they kind of done?
No, that they wanted him to win. But you're telling me that they went in there marching, expecting that they were going to be successful and that he's going to save them? That's pretty stupid. That's so stupid. The reason it's so stupid is because there's two possibilities. They're successful, in which case he's president and they're not charged. Or they're unsuccessful, in which case he's not president and they're charged and he's not there to save them. So what I'm saying is your whole premise here as to what their expectations were is illogical. It doesn't make any sense at all. It
totally makes sense because you're assuming that the only way you could be saved from a prosecution is via a pardon. But the fact that if he were to win as president, they just wouldn't be charged, period, seems to hold a lot of water. They would just not have been charged. Also, the fact that when he was elected president later, he pardoned them regardless.
If that was his objective, and they were banking on that, why didn't he pardon them before they were even charged on January 19th? 2021.
He might not have known that he could. Well, at that point, he probably just didn't give a fuck. He didn't give a fuck about any of them. He didn't win his shit. He got fucking grumpy and dumpy, and he packed up all his bullshit to go to Mar-a-Lago.
So you're saying he didn't care about them, but now you're saying that he did care about them in 2025.
I never said he did or didn't care about them. The argument very clearly, try to keep track of it.
Well, it's hard because you keep waffling, so I don't know what side of the pancake we're on now.
I'm being crystal clear. Let me do this one more time, and I can downgrade it to second grade language if that's what you need, okay? If the fact of the matter is that Donald Trump has conducted himself, the fact of the matter is that Donald Trump conducts himself and his policy in a way that encourages people to break the law on his behalf, up to and including things like seditious conspiracy. People did break the law on his behalf, including up to and including seditious conspiracy, and he did pardon those people for doing crimes up to and including seditious conspiracy. And the people that were convicted while they were in court were saying things like, "I was here and did this because Donald Trump told me to be."
And the point that you're getting at here is therefore, because we'll come back to the premise. Therefore, the seditious six is what we launch this whole thing. Therefore, they're okay with basically weakening our military. That's your point.
I don't think they're weakening. I don't think that our military, keeping in mind that they can't follow unlawful orders from a president who is using the military against his own fucking population, his own citizenry, I think it's totally fine for them to keep that in mind. And I would hope they would. The response that you should have, and the reason why you fascist fucks don't have this response, your response should be, oh, they're telling us to follow the law. LOL, who cares? Trump doesn't issue any unlawful orders. Easy, boom. And then just go on to the next thing. But the reason why you're so worried about it is because you know that he's issued a ton of fucked up commands. You know that murdering those civilians off the coast of Venezuela was fucked up. And you know that using the military against your own fucking citizens is insanely fucked up. And if Obama did it, you would already be dead from a heart attack. Your head would have fucking exploded. And you would already be off this planet. There's no way you guys would have survived Obama forcibly deploying the National Guard against his own citizens against the will of the government.
I have to use the restroom, be good for like.
Oh my God, chaos is going to ensue.
I know. Please don't. Please, no slurs. I will be right back. But good logic. I'm going to give you the mic.
I'll try to dial back the slurs while you're gone. Yeah. What were you saying?
So we were talking about how you're kind of forgiving every single thing Trump does, and if we want to
I'm not forgiving everything he does.
Just most of it, or all of it, or
What I'm saying is no, because you have to deal with a practical perspective. Do you not appreciate the fact that if you're sitting in the military, you basically they're trying to talk to the military, telling them what to do. You're agreeing with that. So if they're telling the military what to do, now let's put that into practical effect. Now they're
repeating what's already law. They're repeating the law. Say that they're repeating the law
in the context of he's issuing illegal orders. Which is
they're repeating the law.
No, they're not. They're not simply repeating the law.
Okay, can we imagine a hypothetical world where you think that President Obama has done something illegal and someone tells someone else that I think he's done something illegal and you don't follow like illegal orders? Is this like a possible good faith thing that someone could do?
They already did it with the assassination overseas. They just did it earlier.
Yeah. Is that something? Let's take the assassination overseas. Let's assume that was illegal, right? Like if you reminded someone in the military that this was illegal, would that be like sedition?
why don't we have a productive conversation, a little more productive, by not making it less personal, and we'll just deal with President X, who's the president in 2050. What we want to happen in that President X,
Twitter,
and it could be Republican or it could be Democrat. We don't know. What is a healthy way to proceed in this particular scenario?
Pat Buchanan is about to do something extrajudicial, and you and I both believe that. Is it seditious for us to remind people of the military that this is an illegal order?
That's dangerous. I think that's very dangerous.
So if any president does anything annoying, we can't criticize it. Yeah, that's the standard you're setting right now.
I want you to just think about this for a second. I mean, let's pretend it's President Democrat. Okay. Now I want you to just pretend for a second that now you have people. Now you have Republican Senator X and Republican Senator Y who are coming out there now and basically saying he's issuing unconstitutional orders. You need to disregard them. Now, these orders may or may not be unconstitutional. It's purely an opinion that's coming from Republican X, Republican Y. So he's now basically trying to co-opt the military from under the control of President Democrats.
Okay. No, I understand you're describing the reality of the situation right now in ways that I don't necessarily agree with. I'm asking you, if the president does do something unconstitutional, or you just think he does, and maybe the court wouldn't find it, can you criticize him?
I think that it can be criticized 100%. But
by saying it's unconstitutional.
But there's a difference between criticize. There's a difference between you going online, or Destiny going online and criticizing the president. He should do it till he's blue in the face, and I'm sure he does. But there's nothing remotely wrong with that. There's a very different thing from someone who's in Congress talking to the military, addressing the military. That's not remotely the same. Your role is not the same. My role as a podcaster, your roles as podcasters, that's not remotely the same as some congressman who's talking to members of the military. You both recognize that.
Okay, so congressmen are
hold on. To be clear, not only do I not recognize this legally, you're just dead in the fucking wrong. There's the whole speech and debate clause. If they went on the floor of Congress, they could say the most unhinged shit possible, and you wouldn't be able to convict them of crime. This is an imaginary standard that you've set up that you would never, ever tolerate if it was directed at your side.
Speech and debate clause only applies when you're addressing Congress on the floor of Congress.
That's why I said on the floor of Congress.
But does not apply when you're making a video directed at the military. You're not talking to the military.
That's why I said.
So then it's not relevant. Why are you bringing it up?
Because people go on the floor of Congress and say crazy shit. Hello, welcome to Nancy Mace. When she made all the accusations against her fucking ex-partner, she did it when she was on the floor of Congress. And that's on TV. You can address other people when you're on the floor of Congress.
Do we agree that the adding question was not an address to Congress, correct?
It's not an address to Congress.
The adding question where they went on, they made an ad, and they said
no, it's not. But I'm saying that Congress people enjoy.
Because the point, because you were saying
I'm bringing it up because you're trying to say that these people have an even greater obligation not to violate their First Amendment rights. And what I'm telling you is they have even more leeway than an average U.S. citizen is. I don't even know if you could convict somebody for fucking conspiracy to murder if you're giving a speech on the floor of Congress. They enjoy broad freedom of speech rights. So the idea that this video would count as seditious conspiracy is a joke.
No, that is the most ridiculous argument I've heard in quite some time. Just because there is a special rule on the speech and debate clause which enables Congress to vigorously argue with each other where they have protections from their speech does not mean that they have a right to go and address the military and go in to stand before an entire unit and stand there and tell them, do not follow the president's orders.
Wait, who addressed the military before a unit? Were there soldiers present when they were recording this shit?
They're special people. They get to talk and say whatever they want. And what I'm saying is their role is not the same as yours or mine.
And it was recorded, would you have the same argument, or would you say it's fine?
What I'm saying is what Senator Gallego did is just as bad.
Can you answer my question? If the video had not been a video, but rather a recording on the congressional floor, would have been okay?
I just answered your question. Senator
you didn't give a yes or no. So
yes, it would be just as bad because Senator Gallego did the same thing.
Okay, so then why are you arguing that here it's fine? Actually, no, it would also be just as bad. Just say, I would never say it's okay if any single member of Congress ever questions the president's authority.
That's not what I said. I said
so they can't call it unconstitutional.
No, they can't.
Or they can call it unconstitutional, but they can't remind them that they are not supposed to.
What I'm saying is you cannot address the military, say he's issuing unconstitutional orders. Your duty is to disregard.
Nobody said these. They said your duty is to follow the law. It's to ignore unlawful orders.
Okay.
Is there any way? Is there any way? So you have orders that you must disregard? Does Trump issue unlawful orders?
Oh, that's obviously something subjective. Because one judge
then
says
it shouldn't be a problem,
another
right?
judge says yes. No, that's exactly the problem. That's why it's so dangerous. Because you have one judge saying it's unconstitutional, another one saying it's not. This guy's sitting in the freaking cockpit deciding, do I press this button or not? And Mr. Slotkin says, I better not do it, otherwise I'm going to be prosecuted. That is really manifestly dangerous. That is weakening our military. That is what you're advocating for, and you're trying to whitewash us like.
Then why do we have this law? Why do we have this law at all? Then why do we have this law at all? Why do we have this law at all? But excuse me, fuck you. What's sick and disgusting is the fact that the president of the United States is deploying the military that he knows that he can't do. You keep saying he's following the law. Well, then why was he complaining about not being able to do it with Minnesota when all of BLM was going? And he knows he's fucking breaking the law. The disgusting thing is using your own fucking military. What do you mean? What part do I need a professional? What other thing do you not know about? Tell me. I can educate you.
Also, you're in Minnesota now. Also, you're in Minnesota now. I have no idea what the hell you're
Donald Trump had issues during the BLM riots. He was complaining that the governors wouldn't authorize him to deploy the National Guard of their states because he knew he didn't have the authority to do it. That was his main argument during J6, was that he couldn't deploy the National Guard to the Capitol because Nancy Pelosi or whatever fucking person at the time he wanted to blame for his incompetence. So what changed then? I'm sorry, what law changed? What law changed between now and January 6th and 2021? That allows him now to deploy the National Guard.
He followed the law then.
So why didn't he just deploy the National Guard immediately then, if he could always do it? Another pivot. He's thinking of the pivot up right now. He's thinking it. He knows he fucked up.
I didn't understand your question even.
Donald Trump said that he couldn't deploy the National Guard because Bowser said something or whatever, the mayors, whatever. He said he couldn't do it. Why can he do it now? What changed between now and then?
Location.
I'm sorry. I might be a fucking is the capital?
You obviously are a retard because there's a big difference between District of Columbia, Washington D.C. as a city proper, and the capital itself. Those are two different things. Those are two completely different things. So when you're sitting there saying like, "Oh, it's why is he not okay here?"
My geography is horrible. Is the capital in Washington D.C.?
Yeah, but he has some authority there. The final authority there actually goes to the Speaker of the House. Which is why ultimately was Nancy Pelosi's. You need approval. He needed approval there.
Oh my God, you're so wrong. You're just a fucking liar. How are you so insane on this? Holy shit. You're telling me that the ultimate police force of the Congress, of the U.S. Federal Congress, is not the U.S. Federal National Guard or police? They can't, it's not them. It rests with the Speaker of the fucking House, a political position here?
Yes. And also, where did these guys get shot? Do you know?
Wasn't it outside?
These National Guard.
Wasn't it right outside? Where was it though?
West
No, wait.
I think it was I-17th. I think it was I-17th in DC.
Was it at the Capitol?
They weren't at the Capitol.
I thought they were right outside the White
But
House.
they're not in the Capitol. So
you think he can deploy the National Guard?
Why are we actually having this conversation? I don't understand what your point is.
Because you don't believe this. Because the point is that he knew in the past it was illegal. He complained during BLM that the governors wouldn't acquiesce to him using the National Guard.
Right.
Now he's doing it without the governors even consenting. So what changed?
There's three different contexts. You just use National Guard as if using National Guard here,
Stop
for this reason or that reason are the same. I'm not obfuscating.
No. I understand there are reasons why. You could do it in times of rebellion or coups. You could do it in times of enemy invasion. You could do it in times of great national crises. In the BLM, yes. No. I already said that. In the BLM era, which would have been way more of an insurrection than whatever the fuck he thinks is going on now. In the BLM era, he complained. I don't know if he called it this time either.
He did.
In the BLM era.
He specifically did. He called this an insurrection.
He declared.
He basically declared there to be an uprising. That was the statute he relied on.
I'm sorry. Explain to me legally. What does it mean to basically do something? That sounds like code speak for didn't do something.
No,
he did. He formally declared an insurrection in California?
In his executive order. This is exactly what Judge Breyer was arguing about, whether or not he had the authority to make that declaration in California. Yeah, that's exactly what that's what they're debating. Does he have the authority to do that unilaterally? Does he have to go through Congress to do that? That's exactly what all these issues, the legal issues, which are complicated, which have been going back and forth between whether you're on district court level or you're on the circuit court level or the Supreme Court level. That's why it's very, very confusing. This is not a simple area of law. But one thing that is simple.
It's apparently it's only problematic for Donald Trump. It is simple. It's not simple because you're having to engage in the literal mental gymnastics Olympics.
One thing that is simple is he cannot send the National Guard into the Capitol because the Capitol Police are under the jurisdiction of the Speaker of the House. I don't care whether you know it or not.
That's not even
factual.
true. That's not even true. It's not fucking factual that your local security somehow overrides the jurisdiction of the National Guard of the DC Police.
The reason the law is written that way. I understand that you don't like to think about how laws actually work, but there's logic behind it.
Oh, you tell me, yeah.
You don't like to think about it's not basically, it's reality. The reality is that if you have police force A and all of a sudden police force B come in there and they don't have communication between each other, that creates a dangerous situation. In order to have that, the normal authority police have to basically have to approve and say, yes, it's okay for you to come in here. Otherwise, you can literally have police shooting at each other, which makes it more dangerous than if the new police force doesn't come in there. So that's why you have to have that coordination, and that's why ultimately Nancy Pelosi was the final call within the grounds of the Capitol. That's why there's all this testimony about these people who are desperately calling Nancy, let us in, let us in, let us in, and she's ducking for an hour and a half. So now you want to sit here. So now
I agree with I want that whole thing to be clipped, and that is the answer to this debate. You just said that if you bring in a police force that doesn't cooperate with the local authorities, you make no effort to do so, it creates an environment and a situation that is more dangerous than it would be otherwise, which is exactly what Donald Trump has done with his deployment of the National Guard to every single fucking state, which was exactly the argument that we made at the outset of this. And I like how you didn't know, you didn't realize how fucked you were, because you made the same exact argument on January 6th because the shoe was on the other fucking foot. You're such an unbelievable hypocrite. It's unbelievable to me.
Awesome. What you're asking now is the actual the first intelligent question you've asked. That's the strongest, most logical question you've asked. And here's the it's an observation that's the best point you've made so far. And the obvious difference. No, it's the first really good point you made. And the reason you're mistaken, the reason you're so grossly mistaken is because when he declares this situation in DC proper, he has the authority there that he does not have inside the grounds of the Capitol. He doesn't have that in Chicago. He has it in DC. Now, when he goes out in California, what he's doing in California, he's not trying to police and patrol the area. And when you're talking about in California, there he's using the National Guard for a completely different purpose, to protect ICE, because the Democrats have helped basically amp up the rhetoric or their own side that they should get violence stand in the way of federal vehicles.
They weren't amping up the rhetoric. They were just trolling. LOL.
Yeah. They're trolling by banging on vehicles.
Also, what is this thing? What do you think? What do you think?
So,
trolling? Yeah, they're trolling. Yeah, like when Donald Trump tweets out pictures of we're coming to Chicago with the Department of War. What are you citing through? What are you implying when you say that the National Guard can't do it? Stop saying you don't like when he does that. Why? It is the most tepid criticism I've ever heard in my entire life. I don't like when he does that. He's inflaming the rhetoric, and he's causing situations like what just happened when National Guardsmen are getting fucking shot. That's what he's doing.
That's not inflaming the rhetoric. You're saying, because he says because he throws out some meme about dropping
some fucking meme. Go fuck yourself. You're so fucking retarded. I can't believe it's so unbelievable. It's some fucking meme. You treat Donald Trump like an actual fucking retard. I can treat other people how you want to be treated. Maybe that's the whole fucking point here.
I do want to good logic. Finish your point, please.
When he's dropping a meme, if you think that is what's riling up the left, that's what gets them started. Not the last 12 years of screaming about how he's a fascist, he's a danger, he's going to kill us all, and he hates trans people and homosexuals and women. He's misogynist. He's most evil. He hates black people.
Yeah, these are all things. Yeah,
all that stuff.
Statements.
All that stuff. Trolling. All that stuff. That's not what makes people angry and hate him. It's because he sent out a video of him flying a plane and dropping loads of crap on Harry Sisson. That's why they're so angry. Now they're
Just remember, when we talked about how horrible the seditious six are, when he talked about how horrible the seditious six was, we had to take that in context of everything else. But when Donald Trump does it, it's a discrete tweet that he could never possibly fucking control, and we always have to see it as just a little minor case of discrete trolling, and we can't apply the context to anything else. But when the seditious six tell you to follow the orders that are already part of the fucking military, now we got to talk about context.
The question I have, real quick. The question I have for you, good logic. You say you don't like it when President Trump tweets out things like we're bringing the Department of War to Chicago. Can you explain why you don't like that? What is wrong with that in your view?
I want him to do what
like you care about the Constitution and try to, Sorry, I'm done.
You seriously are so bad at guessing which direction I'm going. It's weird.
I think I guessed last time. That's why you gave an even more retarded answer. Or like
I want an answer to my question.
The National Guard can't go into the Capitol. What AI was that? ChatGPT or was that Grok Law or where the fuck did that thing come from?
I don't want him to issue threats.
Yeah, just answer Wick's question.
I
don't want him to issue threats.
I just want him to. I want him to act, because that's what a leader does. A leader acts. A leader doesn't have to issue threats.
So
a leader doesn't have to say
this. Gave them warning. He should have just done it.
No, what I'm saying is he should do what he's supposed to do when he's legally allowed to do in order to help take care of a situation. Talking about it doesn't benefit anyone. That's why I don't like it.
Do you think that perhaps talking about it and making these kinds of threats, as your words, might lead to an inflamed situation? Like if I were to receive a threat, if like Destiny there was like, hey, Wick, I'm going to dox you, right? In memes about doxing me. Do you think it would be something that might cause me to act in different ways than I otherwise normally would do so, because, hey, this guy has some power, he's got some influence, he's much bigger than me, he's threatening me with something. Even if he's just memeing, it might cause me to take certain actions that I otherwise wouldn't.
I don't think that the left acts in accordance with what Trump does.
So you don't think that anything that Trump does affects what the left? There's
what I'm saying is no. What I'm saying is I don't think that there's any more likely to listen to something that he says than something that I say. The same way my audience will sit here looking at Destiny as if for the joke that he is, and they don't take anything he says seriously. I'm almost with you, Twirly Boy.
No, because you're completely off.
What I'm saying is, no, you're asking a question as the influence that he has when he says something else.
You're saying
we're talking. What impact is that having on what influence is that having on the left getting violent? No, I don't believe that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, sure. So, okay, if Donald Trump said, I'm going to go to this city and I'm going to go door to door and murder every Democrat, do you think any person on the left would respond to that violently?
I think that every person on the right would be yelling at him that he shouldn't be saying that.
That's not my question. I asked if Donald Trump could do something that would cause the left to be more violent. I can't believe you are thinking about that.
Criticism of Donald Trump. Does not understand question, cannot compute, does not understand.
Probably. Is it 1% or 90% probably?
I have no idea.
You are such a fucking coward, dude. Like, this is the easiest question. I don't know why.
What does 1%, 90% mean? You're not even asking a logical question.
You know what numbers are? 0 to 100?
If Donald Trump were to punch a 1-year-old in the face, would it be bad?
No, anyone punching a 1-year-old in the face would be bad.
You can't even just say yes to that. It has to be anyone.
I have to tell you something. I'm thrilled to hear two people on the left who are sitting here saying it's bad to hurt children. I think that's a wonderful day we reached. I think that's a beautiful thing. I think that's a beautiful thing we've got.
Men could be women and women could be men.
No, I think that you stand up for maps. I think that you're okay. I think you're okay with poisoning the minds of children into confusing them.
It's like the head pedophile of the state right now, buddy. You really don't have ground to stand
on. Okay. Oh, we've come to the time of it's time for closing statements. Let's say that. I am going to be streaming. If you guys want to stay for call-ins or whatever, you may. But I want to make sure that the people here get a chance to have closing arguments, closing thoughts, and I got links to all these people in my YouTube description. They can tell you where they can find you, etc. Yeah, here we are. We're gonna let Logic have the last word, so we're gonna start with Soypill, go to Destiny, then Logic, and then
Yeah, I had a whole argument set up here. We never got to it. The National Guard troops should not have been there. There's a reason why judges are saying that he's violating posse comitatus. Why was it Briggs Cobbs is saying that this is not a legal deployment. And the whole idea that this is a necessary action, that the crime is so rampant, is ridiculous. I mean, you look at what people are saying, you look at the stats, the crime is at a 30-year low. This was not some sort of, we need to do this because these cities are out of control. He's doing this because he wants to gain power and he wants to have influence in these cities, and he wants to have some sort of executive branch that lets him do what the law enforcement is supposed to do. It's clearly a power grab. It's authoritarian action by Trump. And yeah, therefore it is his fault for putting people who shouldn't have been here in places where they didn't need to be, where people in the National Guard and other generals warned him and said, hey, this is going to amp up the rhetoric. This is going to put them in harm's way. This does not need to happen. They all were telling him this before he did it, and he did it anyway, and then something violent happens. No, it's not Trump's fault that a crazy guy got a gun and walked up to someone and shot them, but this never would have happened if he didn't do these orders. They didn't need to be there. It's his fault, in the same way that you could say, oh yeah, it's not someone's fault for going to a frat party and getting assaulted. Sure. But if they said, I don't want to go, and then you said, well, you know what? I'm going to force you to go. And I just dropped a bunch of fucking Viagra and all the punch bowl. It's a little bit your fucking fault. So it's ridiculous. And the fact that you couldn't even admit to the most benign of all things, which was, hey, does Donald Trump at least have some culpability if you were to say, I'm going to kill every Democrat in a state? And you said, probably. That's the closest you can get to admitting anything, is probably. And you can't even assign a weight to it. Is it 1%? Is it 90%? I don't know, maybe. But when you look at this fucking video from the Seditious Six, it's no, this is clearly a seditious act. They should be prosecuted. In fact, I agree with Trump. They should be hanged. It's so fucking cowardly. But at least you stayed.
I didn't say that.
Your little grift.
I don't think that's true.
At least you stayed to do your little grift. The other guy ran away because he knew he would actually have to answer a question. So thanks for that. This was embarrassing.
Well, gang, if you like Soypill, go check them out. Links in the channel. Destiny, please.
This is just a deeply unserious conversation. I look forward to the next election whenever the Democrats are back in power and all of a sudden conservatives rediscover their love for freedom of speech and limitation on executive powers. There's a reason why Bill Barr was considered one of the most right-wing attorney generals of all time, why he resigned under Donald Trump with days left in the administration. There's a reason why Donald Trump didn't run with the same vice presidents, because he wanted the last one to get fucking killed when he was calling people to the Capitol to not change the outcome of the election, but apparently, according to good logic, just call for some investigation into some voter fraud that they'd already done and nothing had been found that would change the outcome of the election. Donald Trump has pardoned every single person around him, including people that had no business even getting pardoned, people that were committing seditious conspiracy on his behalf, people that were obstructing investigations on his behalf, like Roger Stone. And then he's targeted political opponents in ways that no prior administration ever has. At least Good Logic's friend was good faith enough to admit that. I think he realized that just showing up with a little fucking lawyer tag and not knowing any fucking law whatsoever wasn't going to be enough to get his retarded ass through this debate, which, props to that guy for at least being smart enough to realize he needed to walk the fuck out of the Thunderdome because he was not ready for the Kaya shocks that were coming here. Okay. And I hope that, when the next Democratic president steps in and he starts flexing that criminal immunity, when he starts realizing that the executive branch can target and kill and do whatever the fuck they want, as long as they listen to a court eventually, I hope that Republicans are as excited to defend that as they have been to defend Donald Trump.
Okay, if you guys like what Destiny has to say, you can find a link to him. If for whatever reason you don't already have it, it's in my YouTube description. Finally, last word from Good Logic.
I didn't come here prepared to flex a 4th grade vocabulary. So I apologize, those of you who are looking for me to jump down into that ring. At the end of the day, the most significant thing that came out of this is a recognition from both of my adversaries over here that what the Seditious Six did in that video is they made members of the military potentially question their activities when they're in the midst of a heated moment for actions that actually may ultimately prevail as being totally constitutional and thereby made for a more dangerous situation. I do not think they should be hanged for that. I think that Trump is speaking passionately when he says that, and he says that it's treason, they should be hanged. I don't think that that's the appropriate punishment for them. I do think that Mark Kelly should be court-martialed and stripped of his commission, and I think that he should be forced out in disgrace. And I think that to the extent that there was a conspiracy here to try and harm our military, I think that weakens life for all Americans. We take our military for granted. And when you have our own congressmen and women sitting there trying to undermine them and have them questioning their own actions when they're taking it, that creates a very dangerous situation. With respect to the question of the main topic at hand, I think that Trump did everything he could legally to get him out. He's not a fascist, which is why he didn't simply remove all the Afghanis. And that's why this gentleman was here to commit those heinous acts. And frankly, I said it would be much easier. I don't want him to be more of a fascist, but life would be much easier for him if he was the fascist that you're always claiming him to be. And I think it's a good thing that he's not that fascist, but he's dealing with a mess that has been baked in here purposefully by the Democrats under Biden, that they brought in all these Afghanis, they brought in millions of illegal aliens, and every step he's been taking to try and make our country safer and safer, they literally will stand in front of federal vehicles and try and go and run to one courthouse after another, trying to stop him from taking steps. And the only reaction that the left have is, oh my God, we might lose some criminal illegal alien, be forced to be sent back home, which is horrific and shocking that people actually still take that position. But I guess if it works for you, go with it. I appreciate that at some point here we had moments of actual conversation, and hopefully in the future, if we actually debate each other, we can dial back the juvenile, you're stupid, idiot, foul language, and actually just engage in discourse. And if you're interested in that sort of thing, an alternative perspective, I urge you to check me out. It's Good Logic. You can find me on YouTube, on Rumble, and on X under that name, Good Logic. Thank you.
Check him out. I got a link to his channel. You guys are free to stay if you like. We got some callers, but if you need to go, I understand. You're I'm not Hamas. I'm not going to hold you hostage, right? So
I said I'd give you 2 hours, which we're kind of hitting up against.
Yeah, we are.
So wait, can I ask a quick single answer question?
Go for it,
Destiny. Logic?
Go for it, Destiny.
When it comes to enforcing executive stuff in the executive branch, so things like vetting people that come over, who does the buck stop with?
The president.
Okay.
Okay. And yeah, thank you again for coming. I do appreciate you. unfortunately, I don't think Branca knew what he was getting into. Right? Maybe he should have watched a little.
To be clear, that guy's Twitter feed is fucking unhinged. The guy thought that he could show up and throw around a few legal terms. The guy doesn't fucking know anything about anything, especially international law. And the idea that going to law school in the United States would privy you to some understanding of international law is a fucking joke.
All I'm saying is I hope there's no hard feelings with Branca.
Bitch, and he knew that he was gonna get fucking roasted here because it's probably the first challenging conversation his fucking retard's ever had his entire fucking life.
He would destroy you. In a properly moderated dialogue, he would utterly destroy you.
Proper moderation? Where somebody's here to handhold him through the entire fucking conversation because he can't make a point?
What I'm saying is when he's arguing with people who are adult, and I've seen him argue with people who are adult enough to not say you're an idiot, you're stupid, you're a child, F you. So in that environment, he's actually a pit bull. He just doesn't. It's not worth his time and effort.
When he's around weaker people, that's what you said, around other people that are too mean to tell them that. Unbelievable. You guys are the debate profession, litigators, right?
It's sad that you think that makes you stronger. It's very sad.
Because like the president of the United States conducts himself constantly.
Look, it was just
if I go into
I was trolling. It was me. It was trolling. Blood sports. That's on me, not on.
It was trolling. It was trolling.
And also, Wick, his pinned tweet is re-migrate everyone right now. So, like, I don't think that he's exactly some person who's allergic to blood sports. He clearly knows the game.
Yeah, but it's not being bad at it. Saying I'm not going to be talked down to me. There's a difference between arguing points versus arguing ad hominem, and that's all. And he's not going to do that. Because
so when I call someone out for not answering a question, that's talking down to them.
No, when you're basically saying that F you're an effing retard dick sucker, that's talking down to them.
I said that to you. I didn't say that to him right away. In fact, he left when I said you're not answering the question, so it didn't require that level of ad hominem to begin.
You didn't let him finish his answer. There's a certain level of respect. What I'm saying is,
what do you think about the level? Wait, one more question. What do you?
I did mute Soypill so he could finish his answer, but then he left anyway.
Oh, okay.
What do you think about the level of respect Donald Trump showed the reporter that he called stupid because she asked him a difficult question?
It wasn't a difficult question. It was a stupid question.
It is within his purview to say
that. Stupid. You're such a. I can't believe you. Holy shit.
Okay.
What?
Either way, yeah. Okay. I do got super chats too.
Quiet,
so
Peggy.
Go ahead. Thank you. Right.
Take care.
I'll read the
I thank you for having me, and I'll come back here. I'll do this again with Destiny or others, whatever it is. That's fine. But I do think that, and I want to be clear here, Wick. I wasn't looking to put you down for your moderation because I'm fine with it. And frankly, I think there's sometimes you even quiet them down. I didn't even need you to quiet them down. I think you were particularly trying to make sure that I wasn't going to get overrun, and I definitely appreciate that. I'm not questioning your moderation, but I do think he was expecting a different nature of discourse. So
show up next time being anything other than a Trump cum-filled water balloon, and maybe we can have a real conversation about
all
this.
Right. So you see this even now as I'm walking out, you still have to just throw out the expletives.
Just a little bit of trolling. It's a trolling. We're just trolling.
That's fine. No, that's fine. But it's
trolling.
It's not actually showing anything other than you're able to appeal to 17-year-olds.
Oh, is that what Donald Trump does?
Which I don't know. Maybe
like with Epstein, right? Or was it 15 or 14?
I was going to say maybe appealing to 15, 17-year-olds is right. Maybe that's your thing, Destiny. Maybe appealing to 15, 17-year-olds is your thing, Destiny. I don't know.
It is, yeah.
All right. Well, anyway,
I don't lose my civil cases like Trump lost his. We're raping that one woman. Was it Eugene Carroll? But we don't like those court cases, right? We don't like those ones.
I thank you all for joining me. It was great.
I do appreciate. I really want to say thank you for staying. I do appreciate that.
Take care, Wick. Have a great night.
Have a great day.
All right, give me a second here. I apologize. I really wasn't able to appreciate your super chats while I was there in the fray. I gotta figure out how to get my camera back on. I was having all sorts of tech issues. Whew. That was something. How do I get my camera back on here? Look at that. All right. How's my sound and my volume and my close my Discord? Yeah, I feel like as if I pretty much dominated that conversation. I was very pleased with the way that was going. I was very, very pleased with the way that was going. I felt bad because I was like, I was like, Branca's not going to like this. I did this like the last time I did this was 2.5 years ago. I forgot what it was like. But yeah, this is almost certainly true. It was uncomfortable at a certain point. I was going to close some of my buttons. So I was like, this is so uncomfortable. I had a whole bunch of super chats I want to pull up. So I'm so mad about the audio issues I had in the beginning. And that's why Joe was calling me with his Can't Hear Joe. I was like, who the heck is calling me now? No one ever calls me. Hey, boss, you're muting your stream. I can hear you on Whick stream fine. That sucks. Joe's X account has a working stream. Destiny, you're getting the answers you want, but you're not getting the answers you need to hear. Leave, Joe. It's not worth your time. No, you see, if I leave there, then they're like, they claim victory. And that, like, you know, we chase them out of the Thunderdome, you know? Please, Joe, this isn't worth your time or hours. I'm sorry if you didn't like it. I was just... If this guy constantly interrupts, patronizes, talks in circles, he's probably midwit and a Marxist. Yeah. Get a moderator with more of a spine. Destiny should have been muted at least 100 times talking over his opposition. That would have been... I think he's afraid to mute Destiny. That's the problem. On one side, we got Joe. On the other side, screeching hysteric with brain damage. And two things, lame deadpanning with unwarranted certitude equates to superior debate skills and reasoning. I know Mara has a tough job. He needs to stop letting Destiny trample debate. Hard to understand both sides when one side won't shut up. Yeah. The moderator opposition are spectacular pieces of evidence to argue that the franchise should not be universal. The franchise? I'm not sure what that's a reference to. Destiny, your image for Twitter, really good. I got to see you in all your regalia. Good luck, Joe. Thank you. Thank you, Malcolm. Moderator needs to man up. Final answer, comma. Joe, you're casting pearls before swine, indeed. I understand that Joe is banning 2 Americans who love not even their own families, who in their heart of hearts want to disappear 72 million of their fellow Americans. They want your children gone, and to them it's funny. Huh? Idiot Destiny equals terminal stage 4 TDS caused by severe overexposure to fake 100,000% anti-Trump mainstream media. Sadly. Yeah. So Destiny has no problem when the whole body machine selectively persecuted Trump for anything, including even passing a law just to overcome statute limitations so they can prosecute Trump. Yeah. Thank you for hanging in there so we could see how insane Destiny left to become. How does he not know that the president has no jurisdiction over the Capitol building? I don't know. He thinks I went to like I got that from Grok Law or something. I don't know. Todd Sullivan, super sticker. Thank you. Clearly, they never seen you argue with Nate. Clearly, yeah. And it could be so much better. The reason they do that is because I think they feel frustration. They feel frustration. Kimberly's saying if Dems win, then these idiots will learn what tyranny is. They'll be happy with the tyranny they see. They'll be very...
All right.
How do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Oh, guilty, but with a real good excuse.
They plead not guilty.
I'm trying to find the chat from... Why can't I ever get the chat? I didn't open up timely the chat from Rumble. I don't know if there were if there were chats in Rumble. I can't even see the chat right now. Can I see my live chat in Rumble? Whew. Making opponents leave seemed to be the plan for them to claim victory. I would have loved to see Branca in a real debate with these low IQ losers. Yeah. When he first made the threat, I was like, oh, he's not going to be here long. He's not going to be here long. Next time you're going to debate, if idiot leftists, invite the one smart one you know to come back you up. That's not a bad idea. Hey, BinV Radio, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. I don't know if I've spoken to you since like Trump got it and came back in. Anyway, I think I'm going to take this video down and then re-upload from the part where my audio is working, because there's no point to me leaving that. And I think people will watch and they'll see me, they can't hear me, and assume that's like that the entire time. So that's not good. That's not good. No, I'm saying is I would put it back up, but just starting from like the last hour and a half or so after my audio was working, and just have that part there, because I think that it's without my audio, it's just sort of like it's very confusing what's happening. I think I did well. I'm like, I did really well. I got them to basically recognize why it's seditious, why it was so dangerous to our military. So that's really what I wanted. This is why it's so dangerous to our military. That's an interesting idea. Maybe I can do that. That's a very good idea. I like that idea a lot. I'll try to figure that out. That's a really good idea. See, people on Rumble come up with good ideas. I don't know why I can't see the Rumble chat. Can someone from Rumble just sort of copy and paste the Rumble rants, and that way I can pull them up and just sort of copy it with the money, and that way I could just sort of, if you copy and paste it and put it in the chat there, I'll see it here, and then I'll be able to highlight it and bring it up. I'll give you like a minute to like hear that and like actually start doing that. They didn't just say don't follow legal orders. That would be correct. They said he's issuing illegal orders, don't follow them. That's not okay. That's not okay. That's the part that's not okay. You can't say don't follow his orders because I think they're illegal. You're digging, my friend. Glad and proud to be a member of the following. I will wear my tracksuit with pride tomorrow. Amen. But not like that kind of pride. Other words, any rants? Okay, thank you. All right, good. All right. Cool. I feel guilty when I miss that stuff. Thank you for that heads up there. Appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that. You're a good man, Jacob. All right. I'm gonna wrap it up. I think I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow. I think that's the plan. Maybe we'll do something tonight. I don't know. Maybe we'll do something locals tonight. Maybe we'll do something locals. We'll see. All right. That's my show. I'm sticking to it. I will catch you all probably tomorrow. Have a good night, everyone. As always, Godspeed.